Big E from the New Day. Give me that hole, yeah. Give it to me. I need it.
Hello, and a very warm welcome to the Gimme Wrestling podcast. My name is Ant. I hope you're all having a good day. I am 20 minutes away from watching Smackdown, and in about 20 minutes, we're going to have Pro Wrestling's Dann Read join us from Eve, Riot Girls of Pro Wrestling. He's hanging out with us to come and chat Smackdown, as well as all the news from this week. And there's lots of news to break down, especially with sort of AEW and New Japan crossover. So I can't wait to hear his opinions on that. It's not something we've talked about yet, so we'll hopefully be able to have a nice discussion about it in the future. And so get any of your questions, anything that you start thinking of, ask him. He's a wrestling producer. He works with Eve Pro Wrestling, XWA. He's worked with Ring of Honor in the past. He's worked with multiple companies in Japan. A very knowledgeable dude. So please get your questions all ready and get that knowledge bug filled up for you. Hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for joining us. We have Scott. We have Jack. How you doing, my dude? We have Jeremy. Hello, my name is Jeremy. I'm the reigning, defending, undisputed Royal Rumble prediction champion of the world. Yes, you are, my dude. Yes, you are. Jeremy absolutely smashed it on Royal Rumble predictions. Absolutely everyone right. Incredible work. Dan will be joining us in a little bit, so come and hang out with us. I'm a Sharpie pen on the board of life. Yes, you are, Jackie boy. Yes, you are. Preemptive light train, choo choo, everyone. Cuckoo, 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 cuckoo. You don't know Jack. Good evening, ladies and gents. Good evening, Scott. Until Ant and Dan are back, I'm going to outline my biography. Well, you had a bit of time because I was late, as I usually are. Cool. Skype person here. Cool. Xbox Ultimate Pass is amazing. What's so amazing about it, Scott? Are you getting free games, I'd assume? I'd hope. Also, with Kenta showing up on AEW, I think it's a bad idea. Why have others show up from other promotions when you can't book your own talent properly? Also, Kenta is boring anyhow. Wow, Scotty boy. That's the first time I've heard that one, but that's all cool. That is certainly an opinion. Interesting. I don't think it's a bad idea because it's getting exposure to AEW across the rest of the world. Like in Japan, obviously, you've got to remember they're the number one promotion. New Japan Pro Wrestling. So that's exciting. Currently, I'm watching Eve Pro Wrestling. They're currently live on YouTube, and as soon as Dan's finished there, they're going to be heading off. Charlie Morgan, obviously doing that awesome stage dive at Wrestle Queendom right now. So come hang out. Just pop into there, say hello, and check out the links in the description for more on Pro Wrestling Eve. Awesome. Can't wait. It's going to be a good one. Interesting, Scott. I didn't realize you'd be like that. I didn't realize you'd feel like that. I knew you liked NXT more. The thing is, it works. It works for all promotions, in my opinion, Scott. It sort of helps elevate all promotions, but we'll see what the future says. How long is Kenta going to be there? Well, I mean, who knows? But I'd assume that they're going to film the match with Jon Moxley in the US. That's part of the New Japan Pro Wrestling. Which is happening because I don't think they can get into Japan at the minute. So how long is he going to be there? I don't know. Also, New Japan Pro Wrestling just got a UK TV deal. A UK TV deal. Are you talking about the Roken deal that they've got? That'll have been in the works for months, to be perfectly honest. So I think that's a coincidence. It's not just that Kent has just showed up on AEW. How are you doing, Dom? Lovely to see you. Scott, say it again for those that aren't listening. Anyone who doesn't watch New Japan Pro Wrestling has no idea who that even was. That's so cool, man. But all of Japan that watches New Japan Pro Wrestling knew who Kenta was. So that's the sort of exposure that he gets. Roku. Sorry, is it Roku? Thanks. Oh, I don't know. Roku. Yeah, it's a streaming service. It's across the world. The interesting thing about that, Dom, is New Japan Pro Wrestling's TV is very different than a Western wrestling show. So New Japan's TV is normally 6-man matches, 4-man tag matches, and actually the special events tend to be the singles matches, which is what you end up getting at the pay-per-views. So quite interesting in terms of a different setup from what is normally we're used to on WWE. We get a lot of singles matches, and then we get stipulation matches, whereas the stipulation matches happen normally on TV, with very little story going into it, and the story plays out more at the pay-per-views. Does that make sense? So actually with New Japan, you don't necessarily have to catch weekly programming. However, they with this 1 hour show, which is not just in the UK, it's across Europe and America as well, I believe, they have the ability to put on this 1 hour show which can do something different and potentially appeal to a Western audience more, which they've tried to do a couple of times in the past. They tried to do a few years ago, and so hopefully it works this time, man. Hopefully it works this time. Cool. Cool. Also, New Japan just got a UK deal. The Moxley match was filmed in December, according to Fightful. Yes, it was, yeah, I think. Roku. Hello, Jake. How are you doing? Lovely to see you. Thought so, says Jack. Jeremy, if they watched WWE and knew who Hideo Itami was, they knew who he was. It's interesting. If Hideo Itami had stayed in WWE, how many times would he have had the 24/7 champion? No. It's not good, man. It's not good. But actually, you know, he's sort of a big deal in Japan. So, Roken sounds like Tekken. Love it. Thank you, Dommy. Thank you, dude. Yeah, I do have Dan from Pro Wrestling Eve joining us later on, so hang around for that, and you can ask him for his opinions on it. It'd be awesome to hear his opinions as a wrestling producer. You know, we've had discussions about it before about the AEW expansion and how he'd incorporate his companies into that. So. Do feel free to ask questions. The American audience wants one person who does a GTS, and he is an Asian. They're correct, Jeremy. But it was actually Hideo Itami who created the GTS, and it was CM Punk that obviously made it popular. Scott is right. Says you don't know Jack. Cool. Yes, I know Kenta from NXT. I loved him in NXT when he teamed with Balor. Yeah, he teamed on main roster for like one match with Balor, didn't he? Was he injured or something afterwards? Also, we think we know everything, the US, UK. Japan is a huge place with more money, resources, and tech than us. It's silly to underestimate the impact of New Japan Pro Wrestling on a global scale. Absolutely. Well, they are either the second biggest or third biggest, I don't know the exact numbers, biggest company in the world. So, massive, yeah. I watched a lot of New Japan and remember when Kenta joined Bullet Club and it went off like a fart in a church, was it, man? Hideo was injured most of his WWE run. Yes, he was. He had some cracking takeover matches, though. So, yeah, awesome. Thank you all so much for joining us. Hope you're all having an awesome day. I'm looking forward to Smackdown tonight. Seeing what's happening with Edge, seeing what's happening with Bianca Belair. I don't think we'll get any answers, but that's absolutely fine, you know? I mean, let the story play out a bit. I sort of hope that they don't just say, Edge, I'm going to face you, Roman Reigns, I'm going to face you. I sort of want it to be left a little bit in the open so that we can see, is he going to go against Finn Balor or Pete Dunne, the winner of that match, and that sort of stuff. I think that can be quite exciting. I don't think they need to commit to anything just yet, you know, even if they have got an idea of what they want. Is it me, or does Kenta's GTS look snugger than Punk's? I don't really know Punk's GTS, so you tell me, Jackie boy. You tell me, mate. I know there was a couple of people complaining about Moxley selling a bit, but I didn't really notice that. Well, you saw my reaction to it. Kenta had massive injury problems in WWE. Either way, when he was on TV on WWE, he was one of my favourite wrestlers. That's awesome to hear, Jake. I remember when he was first in the 2K game. It's very good. Very good. Hello. Is it me you're looking for? Perhaps, Jamel. It could be me that you're looking for, or you that I'm looking for. How are you doing, dude? Lovely to see you. What Jamel are we getting today? Comedy Jamel? That is great. He invented the move. Undertaker didn't invent the tombstone, but we don't want to see anyone but him do it. Okay, really interesting, yeah. Yeah, interesting. An interesting comparison, I suppose. Yeah, very good, Jeremy. Yeah, good point, man. Good point. My 150th stream will be an NXT UK one appropriate. Is that next week, man? Guess what, dudes? I'm back at work next week. Wow, it's going to be very busy. So I don't know how I'm going to work all that out, but we will try our best to keep the content coming. Let's hope we can carry it on. Kenta is the main reason I got into New Japan Pro Wrestling again, because after Kenny and Cody, etc. left, I stopped watching for a bit. But when Kenta joined, I got interested again. Cool, man. Cool. And you've been enjoying New Japan Pro Wrestling a lot, haven't you, Jake? Mod selling, we're fine. Absolutely, mate. That's what I'm doing. It's just to get the title off Moxley, then that's it. If it was maybe Okada or someone else, Kenta did a GTS to Austin Aries in slippers years ago. You know, I feel like I remember that. But Dave Meltzer, not that he knows everything, but he did confirm that it was the door was open to more in the future, and that this was just the start of the discussion, and they needed to have these discussions with Tony Khan to make the Moxley US title defense work. So, Jeremy, even Kane. Hot take, John Moxley is overrated. He's like The Miz, can cut a promo, but his matches stink. Scott, you know what? I struggle a bit with Moxley. I like him when he's chasing the title, but when he's got the title, it doesn't work for me. It didn't in WWE though when he was Dean Ambrose. It was exactly the same then. Interesting. No, we like our Kane with our chokeslam. Yeah, Kane always had a fun chokeslam. Are you for a 15-minute promos for Roman Reigns? Are you ready for a 15-minute promos from Roman Reigns? No, but we'll probably get one, won't we? We'll probably get one. Did he do out notable on? Oh, is he going to bring up the massive botch on Royal Rumble? Him losing the match by not being able to find the key. I didn't really rate that match. I love the Kevin Owens match and Roman Reigns match from TLC. I thought it was excellent stuff. And then that match was just a bit ploddy, wasn't it? A bit ploddy. A bit spot to spot. Are you for... what's up, my Hulomaniacs? What is up, Danny? How you doing? We've got Dan joining. So, you're doing the vaccine stuff at City Hall, man. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's been announced yet, Dom. I'll call tomorrow. Yeah, cool, Dom. Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks, dude. School, I think the opposite. I prefer his matches to his promos, says Jakey Baby. Cool. That's fair enough. That's absolutely fair enough. His promos, Moxley's promos can be really passionate, but along with anyone's promos who can be really passionate, they can sometimes just go around in circles as well. Glad you're back at work. I'll miss you. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to carry these on as much as possible. But like I say, I know it's going to be very difficult. Like next week, it's going to be very difficult. So there's a great match on at the minute on Eve Pro Wrestling. This is Jazzy Gabert, or Jazzy Gabbert, as she was known in NXT UK. However, she did want her name to be Jazzy Gabert. Faces Nikki Cross from WWE. They are fighting now on Pro Wrestling Eve channel. This is a really hardcore match, man. I don't know if you guys have seen this one before, but it's really stiff. It's really good, man. So check it out. Sorry, new keyboard. That's all good, man. That's all good. Moxley is a poor man's Mick Foley. Yeah. Mick had so much more, Mick had so many different levels of dynamic about him, didn't he? I think. So, yeah, I can agree with that. Moxley promos are usually passionate, but with no point, really. Yeah, that's the problem. There's a lot of people that suffer from that as well, where it sort of just goes around in a circle, and you end up stopping listening, or I do, because the point's not there. Jamel, Roman Reigns hitting people with golf carts. Does he know how to play golf? Does he have a license for that golf cart? I think is the question, Jamel. Does he have a license? It's wild that people think that Moxley was underutilized in WWE, but won every title but the Universal title and Rumble. But he's underutilized. He stinks. WWE released the wrong Forgotten Son. Wow. Wowzers. Underutilized in WWE. I mean, yeah, and he had matches with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I suppose he just didn't get he wasn't underutilized. I just suppose out of the three of the Shield, he was used less and in a less prominent position than Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, I'd probably say. And so maybe that's why people said that. But actually, in terms of a WWE superstar, yeah, you're right. He had a very successful career. It might just be me every week on Raw. Yeah, so subscribe to the channel for more of Dom every week on Raw. Jeremy, he is nothing like Mick Foley. He is closer to Brian Pillman, in my opinion, character-wise. Yeah. Yeah, but Brian Pillman also had that, like, it just felt a bit more real. Maybe that was just the product of the time, though. I don't know. Hey, man. Hello, Yuri Butler. Lovely to see you. He has a license to thrill. Yes, he does, and a license to kill as well, indeed. He's James Bond, says Jack. Very good. So, yeah, we are about 5 minutes away from SmackDown. I honestly, dude, I'd suggest watching this match on the Eve Pro Wrestling channel, this Nikki Cross and Jazzy Gabbar channel. It rocks. Jeremy, are you off work tonight? Are you joining us, my dude? Be awesome if you are, man. So, yeah. I'll just pop and say hello to. Yeah, this is a really good match. So yeah, we've got Pro Wrestling Eve's Dan joining us probably in about 5 minutes. It might be towards the start of SmackDown. Nobody claims he was underutilized. People claim Moxley's character was used wrong. He was a goofy comedy guy when his gimmick was meant to be a crazy, unhinged lunatic. Yeah, I suppose a product of WWE's PG times. Like he could have. There's no reason he couldn't have been who he is in AEW, and there's no reason that he couldn't be better than he is in AEW. There's no reason that he couldn't have been an old Mick Foley. But it didn't flow, did it? It didn't flow as well as something like that, I think, in my opinion. I also want to hear your opinions. Hey, man. Hello, Yuri Butler. How you doing? Jeremy Stanley says, I'm here. Yes, you are, Jeremy. You are here. The undisputed, reigning, defending Royal Rumble predictions champion of the world. That's awesome, man. How's your work going anyway? I know that you were very busy in the US, and Jeremy works within the care system as well. Doing awesome work during a really difficult time. So that's awesome, man. That is awesome. Cool. Jazzy Gabbar versus Nikki Cross still. Glenn Hunt, hello. Lovely to see you. Elbow hand hurt right now. Elbow hand hurt right now. Lovely to see you. How are you doing? I have an important question. Oh, you may know what it is. Observing stuff. Is it? Are you ready for a good time? That's my guess. The match against Lesnar at Mania was destroyed by Lesnar not wanting to work. Absolutely. Yeah. Ambrose said in an interview, didn't he? He had all these sort of ideas and throwing ideas off Brock Lesnar, and he just wasn't interested. Which is really sad. Really sad. The match against Lesnar at Mania. Oh, sorry. Yes, I've read that. Same with Punk. He was underutilized, just used wrong. They are different. He was not underutilized, just used wrong. Right, okay, yeah. That makes sense, Jake, I'd say. Yeah. Yeah, because if you look at Punk's achievements, I mean, they were massive in many respects. It's just they had other things that the company was trying to push in that direction at the time. Observing stuff's correct. Are you ready for a good time? Yeah, man, absolutely, I am. And I can't wait for Dan to join us. He'll probably be joining us in about 10 minutes or so. And we'll have a chat. We'll have a chat. We'll find out his opinions on Kenta and as well as much more. A wrestling producer, a guy that owns wrestling companies that's worked with people who are in the WWE, like Nikki Cross and Tony Storm, as well as Hikaru Shida and Nemi Sakura from AEW, Britt Baker, Paige, when Paige was very young. Paige was one of the first Eve champions, actually. What's next for Steph Rollins? Is that for Seth Rollins? What is next for him? I don't know. I suppose we'll find out tonight. What would you know? Yeah, I suppose that's quite exciting. Balto Road says, yeah. Hello, brother. How are you doing? Hope all is well. What's next for Seth Rollins? I don't know, man. We'll see. I think it's going to be an exciting SmackDown because it sort of shows us the direction, doesn't it? Much like Raw did on Monday. Are we going to get Rhea Ripley debuting? I think we all. I expected Rhea Ripley to be on Raw, but obviously I also expected Damian Priest to be on SmackDown, so maybe they switch it up. I don't know. I think McMahon went off him when he shot on the Steve Austin podcast. Yes, man, yeah, I think he did, yeah. Yeah, and Steve Austin didn't help him either. My birthday is in March 10th, 2021. I'm inviting The Undertaker, Kane, Ken Shamrock, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Divas, The Big Show. I can't wait to see them in the wrestling gear. That's awesome, Yuri Butler. Brock Lesnar did not get along with Ambrose for some reason. Brock can have a good match with people he likes, but if he does not like you, he will purposely make that match bad. And what a disappointment, because I think that could have been a really, really sort of fun match to be watching. Who's your last minute pick for the Super Bowl? Is it Kansas City Chiefs or Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I'm going to say the Buccaneers. The only reason is because it sounds like the Young Bucks. I don't know American football to be able to sort of answer that, Jamel, my dude. Hulk Hogan will be on SmackDown according to WWE. What, tonight? Well, let's hope they use it correctly. Cool. It's 7 p.m. They are late. Are they? I hope we don't go back to the Murphy feud with Rollins. You know the real disappointing thing about that? Oh, in memory of the natural Butch Reed is on the stream right now. So we are starting. I hope we don't go back to the Murphy feud with Rollins. You know, it's such a shame because it feels like that Murphy feud with Rollins was building up Murphy. Rollins goes off TV. Where does Murphy go? Murphy goes off TV as well, which I find is bizarre. And now, joining me live from Pro Wrestling Eve, it is Dann Read!
Live from Pro Wrestling Eve. That was very good.
How are you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's been a very newsworthy couple of days, really, hasn't it? You know?
It certainly has, man.
And sad days as well. I'm just trying to mute this audio. Bear with me here. Everything's got so many windows up because we're just doing Ustream. And a big thank you as well to everyone that's joining us tonight and anyone that's coming over from the Eve stream as well. I know that there's a lot of choice on tonight because, of course, you've got Emmy's promotion running a live stream as well. You've got us on. You've got Smackdown. There's a lot going on tonight. And I think as well, there's just a load of people just going, what the hell has happened over the last few days in wrestling? So
absolutely, man. Well, we can break all that down from the Royal Rumble to AEW as well as SmackDown tonight. And what's the future for SmackDown? Any sort of big predictions before we get into SmackDown?
Not particularly necessarily big predictions. I would say it's no different than what I said a couple of weeks ago prior to the Rumble or last week. I don't know what the hell is dates anymore, you know. By the way, big hello, everyone in the chat. I see observing stuff. I see Raymond. I see Whole Year Crazy Futuristic. Just Josh. Danny Hargreaves. I'm Melissa. C. Kruger. He's come over from the stream. George Vandergrift. Jamel. Oh, there's so many of you. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for choosing to spend a couple of hours on a Friday night with us. It's
absolutely. Thank you all so much. It's awesome having you all here. Whether you've been here before or whether you're new to the channel, please subscribe to help us out. Help us out, brother. We're up to 19 now. Have you guys
hit 600 yet? Have you hit the Magic 6?
We hit the Magic 6, and then we lost the Magic 6, and then we hit the Magic 6 again.
Oh, yay. Well done.
Thank you, man. Yeah, no, it was dead chuffed. Roman Reigns is coming down, Dan.
Yeah, so guys, because of course you're getting a stream of a watch along, like basically, like it may seem that we're a little bit behind you because that's just how time works.
YouTube,
yeah. So apologies for that. You guys are going to see it a little bit prior to us. But yeah, like going back to your question about what predictions, I said before that I felt that Edge versus Roman was something that I'd probably like to see, but I don't know if it's necessarily something that I'd like to see or something that I just felt like, what else is there? Because that's how you do this. It's not really a case like I saw some people saying about Edge v Drew, and I never really understood that logic because there's a long time between now and WrestleMania, and even if from Fastlane to WrestleMania, they've got to do at least 4 weeks worth of programming.
There's a lot.
And what's that, 4 weeks and probably more prior as well, because there'll probably be some sort of teasing as well. So, how are they going to create that dynamic? Because they don't want to turn Drew and they're not going to want to turn Edge. So how do you fill that programming out for a big WrestleMania match. These aren't long gone are the days of Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. You know, like, and even then, Bret was kind of framed as the villain still. They ain't going to want to do that anymore, you know? So that, to me, that was the obvious. That doesn't make any sense. I don't see them doing anything with the NXT title. Edge's character is this story of redemption from injury. This moment should have never happened. And there isn't a bigger bastard in pro wrestling right now than Roman Reigns. That character is a tremendous villain. So it's the only match that really makes sense. On the Drew side, for the Raw title, no, because what match is there that you care about that feels like WrestleMania?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I really don't know. It's really difficult.
Guys in the chat, what do you guys think?
Yeah, that's really interesting. Who is Drew going to face at WrestleMania? I mean, you've got potential storyline with Sheamus, and they can potentially build that up to being something. But I don't know if it's WrestleMania or not. You know, I don't know if that's the sort of iconic match that we all want. Who knows? Difficult. So my big prediction for tonight, Dan, is Rhea Ripley. I feel like
Rhea Ripley appearing on. Yeah, I think that's a safe prediction. Yeah, absolutely.
She obviously sort of had a great run in the Rumble, and this is the second year where she's had a strong performance in the Rumble, and I just feel like with them bringing Damian Priest on Raw, it makes sense now. If he's on Raw, she's on SmackDown. Fine, you know.
Yeah, agreed. I just saw a couple of questions in the chat there. George says, "What did you guys think of Edge showing up on NXT? Do you want to take that first, Dan?"
I thought it was very interesting that NXT numbers were bigger than they were, based on the fact that they were promoting Edge all over the social media, being on NXT, and yet there were the bump was about 100,000. I was really surprised by that, which maybe says
was that what the quarter-hour breakdown was? Was it for his segment? It went up about 100,000.
The entire show went up about 100,000. I haven't seen the quarter-hour breakdown from that.
It was only 610,000 of views, wasn't it? Which is
that's right, yeah.
So it didn't do 510 last week, though. Wasn't it about 700 last week?
I thought it was
down on last week.
I thought it was 600. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, it was down on last week.
Right, you know, which is mad to have Edge on there, especially with the sort of excitement of the Rumble all behind him and all of that sort of stuff.
Bert Mitchell. Hello, Bert. I know Bert. He's a regular at Eve. He says, HBK. Man, I just don't... Do you know what? He looks so bad these days, doesn't he? He looks like an old man, and he is an old man. So,
he's an old man.
It's not like that's a bad thing.
No, absolutely.
You know, I think after that, after that disastrous, show in Saudi Arabia, I think Sean's just like, we just pretend that never happened.
Absolutely.
I ended that incredible match against The Undertaker. I don't know what else I don't know what you're on about. Tag match? What tag match?
Yeah. It didn't happen.
Didn't happen. No. I mean,
Jeremy,
my take on the whole... Sorry, carry on.
No, go on.
I was going to say, my take, in answering to George's question on Edge on NXT, was it was an opportunity for them to try and boost the ratings. I don't know what the quarter-hour breakdowns are. I do have them. I have not looked at them yet.
There we go.
But, I don't know what they are. But it was pure. It was no different than, Charlotte last year. The idea was to boost those ratings up. And it just didn't happen. Now, do we take that as people didn't buy in to Edge challenging whoever is the NXT champion at that point? Is that the case? Did people just go, Edge and Finn Balor? Is that really what it was? Which is quite possible. Or is it just a case that Edge hasn't met the numbers? Because if there's one thing that has been consistent, like his numbers haven't been what was expected. And this is a guy that's on like $3 million a year.
Yeah.
Because he was expected to be able to bring back like a huge amount of numbers. And I don't think this is necessarily Edge's fault. I just think it's a lack of interest in WWE programming overall.
In general,
I was looking at the ratings this morning, and I was comparing last year's Raw After Mania, which is traditionally the biggest rated Raw of the year. And the reason why I looked at the Raw After Mania was because this year's Raw After Rumble, which is usually one of the biggest Raws of the year, really was not. It has to be looked at as a failure because it was another 1.8. It didn't have any competition against it. It was the night after the Rumble. This is WrestleMania season. We're proper in WrestleMania season.
We certainly are, yeah. We certainly
Edge won the Royal Rumble. Do you know what I mean? Like there was There's all these returns like of Christian, and still I only got that 1.8 million. So I had a look at last year's Raw after Mania so I could compare it to 5 years back. And now 5 years back, I'm just going to get the numbers up.
Yeah,
up
absolutely.
Now, 5 years ago. Now, 5 years isn't a long time ago. It is and it isn't. The last year feels like the fucking longest because Jesus Christ.
It's been a long one.
It has been a long one. So I get these numbers up right now. But I felt that 5 years. How many viewers have they lost in 5 years? And this is what. So the 2015 Raw After Mania did a high hour of 5.57 million viewers.
Right.
That is just
it's massive,
5 years prior, right?
Yeah.
5.57 million was the high. 5.27 million was the low.
Right.
Right. That gave it a 1.96 key demo rating in the high and a 1.79 key demo rating in the low. The 2020 Raw After Mania, 2.3 million high, 1.9 million low, key demo 0.78, 0.64. You're talking almost 4 million drop.
Yep, that's a hell of a lot. I mean,
you're talking just under 1 million a year, basically.
Yeah.
Of people tuning out.
Yeah.
So if the Raw After Mania, the Raw After Rumble did that figure, what is the Raw After Mania going to do this year? Is it going to be another, 1.8? Is that the new high?
Maybe so. I mean, obviously the pandemic had hit before WrestleMania last year, so that affected people as well. But there's an interesting point within that of are people going to come back? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, it absolutely is. And are people going to come back? And what reason do they have to come back? That's
a great point. What reason do they have to come back right now? And is anything? And I know the thing is, the business has changed. By the way, we're not watching this at all. Can someone give us a summary? This is supposed to be a Smackdown watch along, and we're talking about everything, but but this is relevant because we are talking about, what is next? Yeah. What is WrestleMania? Yeah. Why aren't we excited?
Yeah.
Or maybe you guys in the chat are excited.
Yeah, let us know in chat if you are, man. It'd be great to hear. Paul got scared, said Jake. I got scared as well when Roman shouted, to be perfectly honest. Just went off his head. Bert says, you're really not going to find better than Mr. Perfect and Eddie, in my opinion. Wow, two great wrestlers right there. Might be Sheamus versus McIntyre. There's been a couple of people that have said that. And I think Jeremy was making a point earlier that obviously he was booked as a world champion in the past. So Sheamus versus Drew could work at Mania. It absolutely could. I just don't know if it will or not. Do you know what I mean?
I also do not see, right, that turn on Monday night was horrific. That was so bad.
Yeah.
It was just and all of a sudden, and the problem there is we all expected it. We've all just kind of been waiting for it.
Yeah.
And then when they did it, it was just, there it is. It wasn't oh my God. It wasn't like a shock in a good sense. It was there it is. That's a bit stupid. Especially after the Edge promo that he had done prior, basically, slating down Drew for being nice. It's it kind of made Drew look like a bit of a div.
Yeah. Bit soft. Hello, Juggernaut Jared. Welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well. Hello, Louise. Hello, Maven. How are you doing? From the awesome Wrestle Story. Just Josh has joined us as well. C. Kruger, how are you all doing? George Vandergriff, hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. For those of you who are on our channel or have come from Eve's channel or Wrestle Story channel, this is Pro Wrestling Eve. Pro Wrestling Eve is a wrestling promotion from the UK, and this is Dan Read from Pro Wrestling Eve, who is the wrestling producer for it. A wonderful company who do great, interesting storytelling. If you want to watch good wrestling in a week, subscribe to Eve because you guarantee that you're going to get a good time. And we've watched several of the streams now on a Wednesday, and actually there's been times where it's been way better than AEW as well. But AEW was quite exciting as well this week, Dan.
Yeah, I felt that AEW was exciting. Not necessarily the best in-ring product, with the exception of the main event. But I felt that the show itself was a very exciting and well-paced show. At no point did it feel like I watched 2 hours of wrestling.
It was a variety show, wasn't it?
That's exactly what you want from a show.
Yeah, AEW did a good job with the opening match. I thought the Battle Royal was a really nice way to showcase how to do a lot of men in a match at the same time. Which actually, to be fair to WWE, I thought in the men's rumble they did a good job of that as well. To be perfectly honest,
we've got Baron Corbin, attacking the Mysterios. And is there any heel and any babyface with less interest than the Mysterios and Baron Corbin? They've both come off these incredibly dull-ass, ridiculous feuds. The Mysterios with Seth Rollins and Murphy, the Missing Man. And also Baron Corbin with... Who the fuck was he feuding with anyway? And why don't I care?
Yeah, that's an issue, isn't it? Why was Mysterio in a nice white suit? I mean, he looked good. He
got that beer sponsorship on his mask again.
I haven't noticed it. The issue with so someone brought up earlier about Seth Rollins coming back. Obviously, he was one of the last to feud with Ray and Dom. And we're talking about Buddy Murphy being off our TVs for such a long time. And I was like, oh, well, he has. And the weird thing about that, Dan, that makes absolutely no sense, is the build-up Buddy Murphy with this feud with Seth Rollins. They take Seth Rollins off TV, and Buddy Murphy disappears.
Well, that's the problem. And I've spoken about this before, that I have, which is if creative has nothing for you, then you don't exist. And what that tells everyone watching is wins and losses do not matter unless there's some drama in your personal life. You aren't going to get a match. And I'm sorry, is the story of professional wrestling that the wrestlers have gone, you know what? I'd like to put myself in a position where someone's going to go after my wife or my sister or my family. That seems like a great career move. What I'm looking for in life is more drama. I feel that life is too easy, especially during a pandemic. I need more drama in my life.
Yeah.
And therefore, I think that the best thing for me to do is to become a professional wrestler in the WWE. Because all those other promotions too easy. There's not enough drama going on in their lives.
No.
Nobody's invading their houses or setting them on fire. Right?
It's true. It's true.
Apparently it don't matter. That's all that matters. WWE are just we just want people with drama. All right, so no wrestling then. Thanks so much.
But there's no competition, I think, is what you're saying, Dan. There's none of that winner's purse anymore. The idea that if people win, they actually take home the...
Why the frick are they fighting then?
I don't know. You just broke the mic.
That's the bit that does me head in. Someone above earlier said Bret Hart was the best champion. I'm with that person, right? Because they booked Bret as a sensible champion. Yes, he had some drama and some storylines at times, but there was also this background of him being a defending champion.
And a technical wrestler, a trained wrestler, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
I don't understand this obsession with you have no drama in your life right now. Well, technically, he does. There's still that, involvement with Buddy Murphy and the Mysterios. Yes, but we haven't got Seth Rollins, you see, to
elevate him,
digging at him and doing anything. So what? So the relationship can't be blossoming so that when Seth Rollins comes back, he kind of screws it up? No, because see, that's not the story we're telling. What is
that's the issue.
We don't know yet.
We don't know. We have nothing for Buddy at the minute until Seth comes back. And it's bizarre. It's really bizarre, and it's stunted. And we saw the same with Drew Gulak last year, Dan. With he had a really nice feud with Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan really putting him over. And the week after, he was chasing the 24/7 championship. And actually, one of the things coming from AEW that someone made a point of the other day was if Hideo Itami had stayed in WWE, how many times would he have won the 24/7 championship by now?
Oh my God, you'd just see him running, wouldn't you? That's a great point. The former Hideo Itami would be just another joke wrestler. Exactly. And here's the problem I have with that 24/7 championship as well. Again, it's the logic behind all those wrestlers going, those other titles, your US, your Intercontinental, and your World and Universal. I'm a bit shit for that. I can't do that. That 24/7 title, though.
I'm after it.
I'm looking at the people going for it, and I'm thinking, yes, this is my league. This is the best I can hope for in life. It's looking like an absolute prat running around after some celebrity this week who will drop it via roll up of doom as well.
I know, yeah. Hey, it's devastating, isn't it, that move? Especially in the 24/7 league. Yeah.
Well, how how are these other championship matches not ending with a roll-up straight at the start? Is it because of the location? You know? And why is it this seems to be the only time someone can do a decent roll-up as well? It's like they actually proper fold the legs usually on that.
And
But like, come on. Like, and the thing on the Drew Gulak is Drew Gulak's storyline that he did with Daniel Bryan, as we see Baron Corbin do fists on Dominic.
I'm a
big lanky bad guy, me. Oh, I'm sure he can punch legit, but it just like I have a problem with punches in wrestling, and I've said this before. If I see you punch a dude, especially in the world of MMA, fuck me, they can't get Ray out there. He's still down on the ground out there.
He is, man. He is.
You got a shit paramedic team. Anyway, if I get punched by someone and they see me just kind of turn around and look at them, they're probably going to punch me a couple of times and then run. Because I know I would do that. If I punched someone full pelt even, and they just kind of looked at me, I'd be like, huh.
What's going on?
Go to plan.
What's going on?
You know, and I would say, thank you for joining us, kind sir, and testing yourself. Yeah, my fist, it just got in the way of your face there, didn't it? Bad fist, naughty fist. You know, I'd be getting out of it. I wouldn't want to be carrying on with fighting them. But in wrestling, that's what I said before, forearms or something that you don't know in real life, something that they can just shout. Not a punch, especially a dude the size of Baron Corbin. And doesn't he have like a boxing background as well?
He was an American footballer, wasn't he?
Well, I thought he had like a Golden Gloves boxing background as well, like amateur boxing.
Yeah, he might have done actually. Yeah, I think they brought that up at one point. And it's just like,
come on. If he's punching a little kid in Dominic Mysterio, which is kind of the storyline, he's the youngster, you know, and Dominic's just like, come on.
Yeah,
I've gone on a massive rant.
That's all right, Dan. We love you going on a rant, mate. We love you going on a rant, especially because we want it to be great. WWE can be great. It can absolutely be great. We've all got fond memories of it from our past, and there just needs to come some change.
Yep. Jamel just pointing out, I'm amazed how quickly Randy Orton healed from his burn wounds. Tell me about it. Wasn't he Freddy Krueger like 2 weeks ago?
He was, yeah. Oh, Ray's still on the floor. He's a golden. Millie's joined us. Hello, Millie. How are you doing? Lovely to see you.
Hello, Mills.
He's a Golden Gloves winner. He certainly is. Jeremy says
he's still freaking down.
He is.
I think I'm a little bit behind you. Like, it's just like he's just there doing his best, Peter Griffin, isn't he?
He is. Yeah. The 24/7 title is comedy gold. No one said anything about the 24/7 hardcore title. I feel like that.
They did when it was this stupid. They didn't say it when it was used as a title, like with Jeff Hardy and Rob Van Dam.
Yeah,
you know, and they didn't say it then. But when it then became what this 24/7 title is, and also just think of that. It's like it's a championship. Just think about a nice springboard plancher there from Dominic.
Yeah,
just think about, you know, that aspect of it all. And then that's what I'm trying to get at here. It's the consistency in the characters and the storytelling. We would not be forgiving of any other non-wrestling show of the shit that we're forgiving here. If there was this inconsistency and this mentality, we'd just be like, this guy's a moron. you know, because they're characters. We're supposed to be buying into them, and their actions are supposed to make logical sense to who they are as a person. Yeah. And the only thing we can tell from who most of those people are in a 24/7, you know, title is that they're idiots who have given up. He's still freaking down.
He's limping now. He's limping back. I don't know where you're up to. He's limping back.
Oh, is he limping back on what you got? Okay, for me, he's still down.
I'm on the adverts now.
I'm gonna refresh.
Yeah, I've gone on to 2 because 1 was really not working for me, man.
I'm on BT Sport and somehow I'm behind you. Figure that out.
Look at that. Could Seth be a face after wearing his fire gear at the Rumble?
Maybe.
If he was gonna be face, I would have left him out for a bit longer. But
wouldn't he have come out to the Burn It Down theme music as well?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that would have made sense. The Messiah gimmick was back.
Yeah, and he had a slightly new version of the Messiah theme, didn't he?
I didn't notice, but it was doing the watch along with the awesome Wrestle Story, of course. I still don't remember Seth being in the Rumble. Yeah, he was 29. Bro, the only hardcore title that ever mattered was the ECW title, said C. Kruger.
Jeremy Stanley says, "What? You forgive anything in AEW?" No, I won't. I will call shit out from anyone.
This week's show was a load of crap. A lot of it. The wedding segment was just as bad as every WWE have done better wedding segments.
There was some funny one-liners in the wedding segment, but it wasn't tight. It needed to be tighter. It just felt very we're waiting around.
Well, for me, Dan, the crowd were trying to make it as interesting as possible because even they seemed bored with the sort of, and they did do a wonderful sort of that chant. What is love? What is love? And then they all started singing "Baby Hurt Me." That was really funny.
That was the first time I learned that. I didn't know that Hadaway track was known in the States. I thought because that was
I didn't know
at a height of UK Eurodance.
It was, yeah.
It was just
terrible.
a big thing in the 90s. So I didn't know that was known.
Yeah,
that was a nice little reminder as well about missing crowds. Jeremy, you got to get off this idea of like being anti WWE and pro AEW. It's about being anti shit. Is what it is. Like, you got to remember, a lot of my friends work in WWE. You got to remember, I have a professional relationship with WWE. I could very well toe the line, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not gonna. I have a professional relationship with AEW.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those things, right? But I will call out because this is my opinion. I'm not getting paid by either of them.
No.
But if you watch Eve, you know that WWE talent appear on Eve at times.
Yep.
And you'll also, if you've heard any of my streams, you'll know I've talked about the relationship that I have with AEW and the things they've done for us and the things I've done with them. So it's just as it is the WWE consistency in storytelling is horrific. Now that doesn't mean that I love everything about AEW. I am sick to death of Sting pointing a baseball bat.
100%.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The same freaking thing week after week after week after week. I now do not care really about Sting.
No.
Because it's just like, Sting's here again. Oh yeah, here comes that baseball point.
And that's not because he arrived badly. I think he arrived well, but the issue is they haven't developed the story, and that's the issue. When you're not moving story forward, it becomes boring. And same with Baron Corbin and Dominic. I mean, how many times have we seen this? And don't get me wrong, Dominic's looking a lot better in the ring all of a sudden, to be perfectly honest. He seems to have looked quite good in this match, Dan.
All right, Dom.
Oh, I know. My podcast brother.
I thought you was talking to Dominic Mysterio then.
Oh no, I was talking to Dom Smith, my the other dude that runs this podcast, my dude.
Yeah, that happens at times.
I'm just having camera issues. I just thought that out.
Oh, bless you. Yeah, like I say, I have no anti. Like for me, here's the other thing. I work in the wrestling business, right? The more popular that wrestling is, the better it is for me. Because the more people watching wrestling, the more people search wrestling. And the more people find me. And the more people find Eve. We all knew, we all need wrestling to be great and to be popular. So it's not in our interests to, be shit. It's not cool to slate on WWE. This isn't an AEW fanboy versus WWE fanboy thing. This is an overall wrestling thing. That is what it comes down to. It's an overall wrestling thing. And I said at the start, I went through those ratings. WWE have lost 4 million viewers over 5 years.
Yeah.
That's impressive, folks. And that was pre-pandemic.
Well, something's not working, and you can expect a drop off, but it's a drop off because of streaming services and stuff like that. But it's a drop off that's at a higher rate than other programs on TV.
That's right.
Ray looks perfectly fine now. You're a legend, Ray. Sell more. Yeah, if it made sense, Millie. If it made sense. Well, what happened? Well, Dom won. There is too many Dan, Dom names that they're all too similar. Mate, there is, and this is me struggling, Danny. Thanks for joining us, Danny, and adding another Dan to the mix. Bert Mitchell, Dan, who has been the best all-round champion Eve ever had? Ooh, big question.
I think the person that had the best matches as Eve champion was Sami Zayn. I think she was phenomenal as Eve champion. But she also had the benefit of having a year with that title. And she also had the benefit of just everyone was super hungry. There was no, it really was Eve against the world, especially at that point because we were, back to doing shows again after having a little bit of time off, and we were basically able to be us, unapologetic underground, real underground, not fake underground. Absolutely unapologetic, nothing held against, it was balls to the wall, and we were pissing people off and we loved it. And I think Sami Zayn from an in-ring perspective is the best Eve champion in history.
There we go.
You'll have a hard time, I think, as well. If you go through and you watch a load of Sami Zayn's matches from her time as champion, you won't find a more hated individual, and yet someone that also that puts themselves through hell and has incredible match after match after match.
And when you have a great heel, it builds up all the other faces, as we saw.
Yeah, exactly. And you just look at that Wrestle Kingdom match between Sami and Charlie Morgan. Yeah, Sami is not interchangeable. She is not someone there just passing the torch or dropping the title. That match, it worked because of Sami and Charlie, not because Charlie did a dive, and not because it couldn't have just been anyone,
Yeah.
So
Jeremy responded to your comments. Wrestling has fallen off in general over the years. How many households don't even have cable anymore, and only Netflix and Hulu compared to 5 years ago? Well, yeah, and
the thing is, though, if people wanted to watch wrestling, they'll find a way because there's more wrestling now available than ever. There's loads of apps that you can get for wrestling, and also with regards to, I can't really talk about cable in the US, but Fox is in more homes than anything else. And also, one other thing is, so that doesn't work there. And in the UK, so let's talk about the UK ratings because I went through the UK ratings the other day.
On the channel we did, yeah.
On the channel, yeah. And there are weeks of Raw that are doing 18,000 viewers in the UK. That is a +7 as well. So that is the total of everyone that watches Raw over those next 7 days. Yeah. AEW, meanwhile, is regularly doing between 98,000 and 150,000. Now, again, you're probably thinking, well, those are both crap numbers. And it's just we're a lot smaller than you guys. Remember that, UK is just an island.
Yeah.
But still compare, if you've got two crap numbers, and really 118,000 or a figure between 98,000 and 150,000 is not a bad number because it's not on consistently at the same time every week. They change it. And sometimes they change date. It's really frustrating. Trust me. But what would you rather? A figure between 18 and 42 or a figure between 98 and 150?
There we go.
I know what I'm going for.
Oh, of course,
and AEW is on, like I say, it changes time every week. But its
which is a problem, yeah.
It's usually between 11:30 p.m. and sometime getting on between 12:30 and 1 a.m.
I really wish they'd get it live across here, Dan, instead of the few days after. That'd really help AEW out.
I think that would help out AEW. I don't know if it... maybe it would. How many people watch it on Fight in the UK and then don't watch it on ITV?
Well, on here.
And Raw is on at 1 a.m. No, 12 o'clock, isn't it, at the moment? Because the clocks have gone back?
Raw? No, what's still 1, isn't it?
It still is 1,
I think it's still 1,
so
yeah.
1 a.m.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
there's not really a lot of time difference. But, somehow... you get those viewing figures. There's no excuse, basically. It's because the product is poor. And here's the thing, right? I know a lot of people there. They think it's crap as well. They're not happy.
The wrestlers are freaking
outstanding. There's no
point
defending it. You're not defending the talent because we're not saying the talent's bad. We think the talent, I personally think the talent on Raw, I think that Raw roster, right? Maybe the Smackdown roster now. But either way, WWE as a whole, right? Even if you take out NXT, the SmackDown roster and the Raw roster are probably the best assumed rosters of professional wrestling in any promotion. Better than New Japan, better than AEW, better than Ring of Honor, better than any promotion going in the world today. I think that combination. I think it takes talent to take that combination of wrestlers that they have across Raw and SmackDown and create the garbage that they often create. And because and just disconnect us emotionally. Where New Japan and AEW gets people is we still have that emotional connection. We wonder who will win. With WWE, don't really need to wonder because we can figure it out. It's very predictable. Because it's like, and even then, it doesn't really matter because, as we mentioned earlier, if you don't, if someone isn't in some sort of big drama, then they're not really on TV. Gone are the days when we would get some wrestling matches because the story was someone's trying to get through. Instead, we get, how many weeks have we had some form of Dominic and Baron Corbin or Mysterio and Baron Corbin?
I mean, I've lost count, really. I've lost count. I mean, at least to give it some time. And you know, I can't complain too much because we've had a match and we're half an hour into the show, which doesn't always happen.
No, we don't often get that, you know?
Jeremy says, Raw is on at like 3 a.m. in the UK and not really a top priority to WWE. The thing is...
Actually, yeah, it is, because the UK was their second biggest market. And the reason why it's not their second biggest market anymore is because people stopped watching. And even now, it's still their third biggest market. Like, India has replaced the UK as its second biggest market. You've got to remember, the UK has been its second biggest market since the 80s.
Years, yeah.
And even there was a point in 1992 where the UK was its biggest market. And that's the reason why SummerSlam was able to happen over here and actually did a bigger crowd than WrestleMania 3, but that doesn't fit the storyline.
Don't tell anyone that.
No, I know, right?
The other thing is, Jeremy, when we're comparing these numbers, you're right, all wrestling in the UK starts at 1 a.m, but these are 7-day numbers, so these are what people are watching over 7 days.
I didn't even say that. That is exactly, it's 7-day numbers. So this is everyone that watches. We don't have the overnight ratings. Like, we can get them, but that's not what is published over here. You've got, you have to wait until after the 7 days, and then you get all the replays within that number. So that 18 to 42,000 viewership and the 98 to 150,000 viewership of AEW, that is a +7 viewership.
And like I say, I think the fact that AEW is not on live really hurts it on the TV because it's like 2 days after. And the problem is with the
Isn't
internet...
it a highlight show as well? What we get over here, is it the full version?
I've never watched it, to be honest. I've never had to because I've just watched it on Fight. But
I've never watched it on ITV. No, I mean, to be honest with you, like I never downloaded the ITV Plus app.
Oh, it's like, it can be a real pain, man.
It probably can. I don't have it. Yeah. I don't. If I watched anything on ITV, I think the only thing I've probably watched would be AEW maybe, but then I wouldn't watch it 2 days. Sometimes I do watch it 2 days later anyway, but I wouldn't want to watch a bastardized version of it. I'd rather watch the Fight version and get the bits in between. Yeah,
and that's half the issue here. Like, that's what I say. The problem is nowadays we've got so much social media and we do these watch-alongs and you guys see reviews on YouTube and for the UK, like for it to be shown a couple of days after, they're actually sort of... If they are invested in YouTube, social media, and stuff like that, they've got all the results anyway. So it should hurt it even more. But it's clearly,
Matty D just said, "I watch all my wrestling on YouTube: Indie, Eve, AEW, Dark, MLW, NWA, GCW, whatever comes up. It's more fun. It's made me into wrestling now. Yeah, there's more wrestling available now than ever before.
Yeah.
It's." Minicard and Biggie makes me so happy. Biggie makes me happy as well. We've got another match between Cesaro and Daniel Bryan coming up.
That's what. So, are you not on that now? You must be well behind me because I've been in this match for about a few minutes.
Have you really? No, Cesaro's just got in the ring for me.
Wow.
I need to reload my. I'm on BT Sport as well, so there's no reason for it to. I might just have to disappear for a moment and put it on my TV instead of trying to watch it on.
Rock and Roll might help. AEW is full version on ITV. Thanks, Jakey boy. Jeremy Stanley says, how often is it replayed in the UK? It's one time here in America. They don't have a replay. I think...
AEW doesn't have a replay. Raw has 2 or 3, though.
Yeah. Well, because it's on BT Sport as well, isn't it?
Yeah, but that number is inclusive of the replays as well. It should be pointed out. So, but again, the thing is, because of the app, you can just go and watch it whenever. So I can go back and start watching Smackdown, I think, from the start if I wanted to, because I've got the BT Sport app.
And does that play into the ratings? It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Every viewership is counted.
There we go.
So I'm going to just disappear quickly from stream because I'm going to put it on the TV rather than watch it.
Do you want me to take you off?
If you want.
Or do you want to stay on?
Yeah, you might as well keep me on.
I'll keep you on. There you go.
All right.
It's all good. Rock and roll. So Daniel Bryan and Cesaro. Oh dear, Cesaro's bust up in the back of his head. We saw that the other week actually, where Cesaro landed backwards on his back of his head with the match against Daniel Bryan. So, oh dear. Cesaro's bleeding kind of bad. I missed the spot that it happened, dudes. But yeah, we did see him hit his head nastily on Daniel Bryan's forehead. Forehead being the hardest part of the head and the back of the head not being the hardest part of the head before. So much blood again. Yeah, not good, man. I'm still confused about the 7-day ratings. How often is it replayed in the UK? In the US, it's only played just once. It is played. You can, if you was to watch it on a BT Sport app, it'd count. So replays don't necessarily matter. On ITV, I believe it's only on the once a week, which is the TV channel. But any replays on any sort of media apps on the BT app or with the ITV player, that all counts towards our ratings. Does that make sense, man? Is the curtain hanging a blanket? You be the judge. You be the judge. The best part of the show, what's behind Eve Wrestling? Oh, interesting stuff, man. There's a mannequin head in the back there. Cesaro picking up Daniel Bryan and Torture Rack. We're getting a Torture Rack. I do love a good Torture Rack. Oh, that backbreaker. Really nice. Really nice. I'm inviting Crown Jewel and Payback, King of the Ring. Nice one, Yuri Butler. His blood is getting all over Bryan. It certainly is observing stuff. Seth was a heel from 2014 to 2016. His heel was great, but now his heel from 2019-20 is kind of bad. So I feel like it could be cut short because a few more years of him as a heel will bore me to death, says Hullier, Crazy Futuristic. And Daniel Bryan's tapped. Cesaro's got the win with a sharpshooter. Good for him. Ouch. Seth's run as heel. I don't know. It's so difficult, man. I don't think it's his. It's not him. I don't think it's his character. It's the progression of story. I mean, when you think his Ray and Dominic thing was going from well before SummerSlam up until he left. I mean, it went on for a long time, didn't it? Whoa, that was clean. Yeah, it was beautiful, man. Well, it was a cracking match, actually. I can at least until WrestleMania 37. I won't last another year with Seth being a heel. I like Seth, and I liked him since he was in Ring of Honor. That saying, how I really enjoyed seeing him in the ring. Is Cesaro going to give Daniel Bryan the respect? Yes. Fist bump. So he's not turning heel either yet. That's good. That's good. Sportsmanship. What a cracking match on SmackDown. Cesaro wins. He deserves a push. Absolutely, Jake. Seriously, how is Cesaro not concussed or internally bleeding? Yeah, man. Bianca, is she coming out now? Is she? Is she going after Sasha? Is that what's happening? There's a small dresser. What's in there? Clothes, mail, misplaced items. The world may never know. May never know, man. Oh, sorry if I spoiled it for anyone that's behind. No, it's all good, man. It's all good. I'm a bit behind actually tonight. I don't know why. Is this when Rhea shows up officially on SmackDown? I'd assume so, Millie. I'd assume so. Well, obviously, them two had the thing in the Rumble, didn't they? They did that spot. I didn't like how they got to that spot. I didn't like when they threw Charlotte Flair out either and then just started acting like nerds in the ring. Wait, you said a crappy match? What, between who, Futuristic? Between who, my dude? Yeah, same Matty. It always bothers me so much that so many incredible wrestlers totally get screwed because of writing and booking. They just have to deal with it. Yeah, it must be so frustrating. How often is it replayed in the UK? Yeah, sorry, I've read that one. Sammy don't need no one to talk for. Sammy Jane's great, man. Sammy Jane's great. And really built up Charlie Morgan. I've been loving watching Charlie Morgan's matches recently. Such a good face. Such a good face. Such a shame she retired. I'm surprised you haven't brought up the Peacock situation. See, Kruger, we can absolutely do that when Dan comes back, my dude. Bianca's dad. Oh, is Bianca's dad in? I'm going to tear up this promo so I can listen to it. Cesaro and Daniel Bryan, and it's okay if you said that. I thought it was a physical match. No, I didn't say it was a crappy match. I thought it was a good match, what I saw.
Well, I think I know what the issue is.
Oh, hello. How's it going?
I think I know what the issue is now.
Go on, what's up?
Can't remember the password.
Oh, right, really? I'll do it.
To get in on the TV. So I've got to watch it on the BT Sport app on my PC. But for some reason, that's majorly behind.
Wow.
So, and because the password's already logged in, it just comes up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You could always try watching it as we watched it last week as well.
Yeah, I'm going to do that, I think.
Yeah.
I've got Bianca Belair in the ring right now.
In the ring?
Doing an interview.
Oh, doing an interview. Yes, yeah. I've got to do an interview.
Performance center backstage.
There was a real good video.
What did I miss, by the way? Because I couldn't hear you guys.
A really nice, clean finish. I mean, you've worked with Cesaro in the past and talked about him in the past, but it's so clean, man. That match was so clean, man.
Doesn't surprise me.
No.
With Daniel Bryan. I've worked with Daniel Bryan in the past as well.
Yeah.
You know, both of them so good. So good.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, originally, I didn't know this. I just read this today, but I haven't confirmed it with anyone, so I can't say if it's 100% true. But the Cesaro, the Nakamura spot that happened a few weeks ago was actually meant for Cesaro. But Cesaro hadn't re-signed with WWE at that point, so it was given to Nakamura.
Wow.
And it was Daniel Bryan's idea. Daniel Bryan is part of the booking or writing. He's able to put ideas, basically.
Yep.
And that was him writing it for Cesaro. But Cesaro hadn't re-signed with WWE at that point, so the spot was given to Nakamura. Cesaro has since re-signed with WWE. Which is there's that kind of bit where it's like, I don't blame him. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, go get your money. You know, like no one's going to match that. No one can probably match their money. You know, there's that selfish part of me as a wrestling fan. Like, I'd like to have seen him go to New Japan, or do you know what I mean? Like, and work some other places. But I'm, you know, the guy's like 40 years old or 41 years old, something like that. So, you know, get your money, fella. And he might be happy there as well. You know. Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, and also, actually, he can't go to New Japan either because there's a pandemic going on. So it's very, you know, he could, but it means staying in New Japan or staying in Japan rather for, you know, extreme period of time. The guy's got a family
and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a very, you know, difficult time to be a wrestler with a contract coming up.
Yeah. Side note, remember a few weeks ago we were talking about Cesaro being underused, and look, they're using him now, and we don't even talk about it, but for a few seconds. Yeah, we was watching the match. We obviously we talk about others.
I wasn't watching the match because I was trying to log on.
But yeah, I thought that was a really, really solid match. Certainly, Cesaro so clean, and yeah, love the Charlie Morgan shirt. Dan?
Yeah, probably available still. I don't know.
Check it out. The links are in the description.
I've got a limited edition Charlie Morgan shirt.
And Millie Carden has a limited edition Charlie Morgan tattoo. Charlie was real heart on the sleeve, but I've loved watching Charlie Morgan. I mean, she was very briefly in NXT UK, wasn't she, Dan?
Yeah, she opted not to sign. Bless her. She was. I think I've told this story before, so apologies. She was asked to be at Takeover. Which was on the same day as Eve, and she said no, I'm doing Eve that day.
Wow.
You know, and that tells you who Charlie Morgan, what kind of person she is.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have held anything against her.
No, of course not. Go get your money. That's what I always say. Right? There's not enough money in the on the wrestling industry for someone to try and withhold you from going off and do other things. That's another reason why I was really annoyed at the WWE stopping them from doing Cameo and things like that, because it's just like, let them go get their money. You know, like, they've lost all their house show money, so they're just on like their downsides of their guarantees.
Yeah.
So let them go get their money.
Absolutely. And not just that as well, the stuff like the Twitch and Cameo and stuff like that, it's mental health as well done. In terms of,
absolutely.
let people do what they need to do outside, and that sort of communication and support that people get from doing streaming. It's helped me through streaming, with you guys.
Sorry, just answering Jeremy's questions.
That's all right, mate.
Dozens of hard drives with wrestling show footage from the shows that I've run over the last 20 years. some of these hard drives as well. Look at this beast. I don't know if you can see it. It's got a plug on it, and it's only a 1 terabyte hard drive. That's how old some of these hard drives are, because I've been in the business for a long time. So I've got.
Is the bottom drawer filled of reels, Dan?
As well.
Oh, SD cards.
Sorry?
Yeah. Is it filled of reels like for old projectors?
No, it hasn't got those, but I've got mini DV tapes as well with a load of old footage on, because it was prior to SD cards being a thing. Everything was on mini DV tapes.
No Betamaxes?
No Betamaxes. So, and the other thing that I have that I've always got near me, some Jelly Babies.
Nice, dude.
So it's the Doctor Who fan in me, you see. Can't not have a packet of Jelly Babies near me.
I do. I struggle with Jelly Babies, mate, because I just eat too many, and then I just feel like my whole body turns into gelatin.
Yeah, that is the reason why I keep them in that drawer. As much as I say it's for that, is because if I go to the cupboard and I see them, I can't say no.
Exactly, I'm the
same.
Drawer,
I only remember they're there when I open the drawer.
There you go. Dan, look at your Facebook Messenger, says Bert. Dan, what's in your dresser? Well, the answer has been delivered, Jeremy. I see you're still not finding out what's behind the curtain, though, mate. I noticed that Tessa Blanchard isn't in the AEW women's tournament. Does this mean she's definitely headed for WWE, says Raymond?
Who? Sorry?
Tessa Blanchard.
No, I don't think that definitely means anything. You can't take away. I mean, there was a lot of drama involved in Tessa. That happened. That doesn't mean that she's not going to WWE. But what I'm basically saying is, don't read into it. Don't read anything into it.
I think she's also took quite a stance on the virus as well, and
is she? She's not another anti-masker, is she?
No. In terms of I'm staying at home and not working for anyone right now.
Fair play to her.
Yeah. Which I don't know if
Very
that was
sensible.
a sort of an excuse with Impact. I don't know. But Ruby Riot and Bayley.
Issues with Impact.
Say again, sorry.
She had travel issues with Impact.
Yeah, exactly, because she's in Mexico, isn't she?
And yeah, we've got Bayley and Ruby Riot, and anyone that knows me knows I'm a huge fan of Ruby Riot.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is I know what she can do, and I still feel to this day we've never really seen what Ruby Riot. Oh, just saw the snake eyes. I'm probably behind you at the moment, but any opportunity to see more of Ruby Riot and her get some more ring time, and especially if she's able to be unrestricted to an extent, I think it's nothing but a good thing. I thought her elimination at the Rumble, I thought the first half of the Women's Rumble was fantastic, by the way. I thought there was some tremendous innovations of the eliminations. Right. That's a word to say when you're drunk, or a phrase rather. And the power bomb that I keep going to call her Heidi Lovelace. I'm living in the past, man.
Ruby Riot.
The power bomb to the outside that Ruby Riot took, man, that was solid.
Yes, it was.
You know what I mean? Give that woman a hand, because that was, they went in there knowing I'm gonna get power bombed to Smeg. I am seriously gonna get power bombed here, and it did. That was a horrendous thud. That didn't get that nice pop sound of a bump. That got a thud, just a sick thud.
Absolutely, well, it will do, man. It will do. It's a massive bump to take.
Yeah, and that is if you've ever looked up into the stuff that Ruby Riot did on the Indies prior to being in WWE, the girl's hardcore, man. The girl is hardcore.
Some of it's on Amazon Prime, innit?
Is it really? I do not know.
Yeah. They've got a couple of wrestling promotions on Amazon Prime that show Heidi Lovelace, isn't it?
Yes, that's why I keep calling her, because that's what I knew her as.
Yeah.
Great counter.
I don't know where you are. We need to check where we are actually at some point. I'm gonna count the pin when you get the pin.
Oh crumbs! Okay.
If you get a pin. For me, the Rumble sort of broke down after Bayley's elimination. And roll up 1, 2, and kick out. That's what I've just seen. Okay.
I'm trying to log in on BT again, sorry.
It's all good. Wait, Charlie was going to join Cameo. Did you mention that Charlie was going to join Cameo, Dan?
No, that's not what I was referring to at all. I was referring to the WWE not letting that,
Wrestlers join a
yeah,
cameo, yeah.
exactly. That was just, I was telling that story after I told the story about Charlie, turning down Takeover to do Eve.
There you go. Oh, cut her over the rope there. Nice. Oh, and again, another solid match there. Bailey's great. Ruby Riot's great.
Yep. To both of those.
But now we're getting sort of the outside interference stuff. Oh man, I mean, these two are definitely like. That face plant was beautiful.
They're both so good, man. Like legit, both so good.
Yeah, man. Bailey versus Ruby with Liv and Billy on commentary. Yes, I could do without Liv and Billy, to be honest. I do like Billy, but I feel like Liv holds Ruby back a little bit, to be perfectly honest.
I think it's just that they haven't got anything for either of them.
No.
So it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah. So Billy is giving Bailey her resume. Cool. Well, I tell you what, mate, as well, at least they've given us a women's segment as well as the Bianca Belair, because I thought it was just going to be the Bianca Belair tonight.
And the other thing is, I've really actually enjoyed this match as well. I think those two have got like good chemistry to one another. They kept things nicely. I really enjoy it, and I'd like to see that match again. I'd like to see a program.
I would, man.
Involving them.
I feel like the last thing Ruby Riot did, of sort of in terms of program, was the table thing with Natty's dad when Jim the Anvil Neidhart died, and she was in a feud with Natty at the time. I feel like that was the last feud that she sort of had.
I've got Bianca walking on screen at the moment.
Yeah, you're a little bit behind. I'll tell you what, I'll pause when I get back after the adverts. I'll pause.
Okay.
I don't think Tessa is going anywhere soon. I don't think so. I think she'll. I think she's quite happy at the minute. He gave in too soon, and now the mystery is gone. I know Dan doesn't deal with suspense as well as me.
What's that?
You showed what was in the. You're so giving. You showed exactly what was in the things. I don't show them what's behind the curtain, so they fantasized about what's behind the curtain. Maybe it's a dinosaur. Maybe it's the people. Maybe it is. I've got a crowd behind me.
Yeah.
It's actually the Thunderdome behind me. Isn't Tessa stuck in Mexico? Yes, man. Yeah, but it's also by choice. If she wanted to, she could get out of there, but then she'd have to go isolate somewhere else for 2 weeks and stuff like that. So she could do it if she wanted. I have no doubt. Thanks, man. Behind that curtain is his kitchen, and Dom is locked up in the kitchen. He certainly is. I only let him come out on a Monday to watch that shit show.
Yeah.
Exactly. Ruby is absolutely incredible. She's that incredible that they give Liv Morgan a gimmick as well, yeah. Ruby is one of the best.
And the thing is, like, I'm all for Billy on commentary because, like, as a wrestler, Billy's not the best. But I think she's a tremendous personality, and I thought she was just a beacon of light in that Rumble. I thought she was fantastic. She was popping us.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, like, I watched the Rumble with Charlie Morgan and Jetta, nice. We did like a little watch party.
Nice.
And we were all cracking up, laughing our asses.
Billy Morgan. Nice.
Billy Morgan?
Billy
sure.
K, excuse me.
You were going to say Piper again there for a moment as well, weren't you?
Nearly, Jesus.
It was all,
Billy Piper.
Maybe Billy and Chuck, maybe that as well. Like,
could be any of the Billys.
All cracking up.
Yeah.
She was popping us constantly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, give credit to the WWE on that point, because that would have been, written for her to perform as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
She performed it, superbly. Like we were highly sports entertained.
It was probably one of the more memorable spots of the Women's Rumble, I feel. Yeah. Which is a shame. I feel like the I don't know if you saw our review on the Wrestle Story. I'm pretty sure you. Well, I don't know.
I had your review of the Rumble up, but I was editing at the time.
Was you right?
I
Cool.
couldn't. What I heard and what I didn't hear, I cannot say.
In the background. Yeah, it was. I feel like the men's Rumble was like so better produced in terms of like them going in and having these sort of moments of wrestling, as opposed to the women's Rumble, which after the sort of Bayley elimination became like a 1989 Rumble, where it was sort of that get in and go into the corner and do nothing, as opposed to the sort of work that the men's Rumble clearly had.
Yeah, well, I thought the women's Rumble kind of took a negative turn when the 24/7 bollocks happened.
Yeah,
and I was just like, why does every women's Rumble have to feature guys in it?
Yeah,
why can't like who it just really pissed me off, and I felt it kind of fell apart a little bit as well, and it wasn't as interesting. And then I felt that the ending with Bianca and Rhea Ripley eliminating Charlotte laughing, Bianca and Rhea looking like absolute idiots. Like
it took you out of the match. Long. Yeah,
it's like, do either you two want to win? Like, you can take a moment to be like, like smile and take a moment, like, yeah, she's gone, right? Me and you. Yeah. And it went on for so long. It was just like, so you guys you're happier about eliminating Charlotte than you are about trying to win the Rumble. And meanwhile, Charlotte's there laughing like, that was a fluke.
Yeah, it's weird. It was weird, wasn't it? It breaks you away from that sort of competitive part of the match, and that was part of my issue with the Bianca, because I really like Bianca, but I don't know if I've believed in the fight to get to the end of the Rumble, and I don't know if that's a fan thing or not, but I didn't believe that she fought her way from number 3 to number 30. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I think part of the problem was that the men's 24/7 gimmick broke the Rumble up. It segmented it into almost like it felt like 2 matches, because we disconnected emotionally from everything that had gone on, and then we kind of restarted.
Yeah.
And that is a trick that you would use actually to kind of get through. If you go back and watch the there's a number of matches in particular, but like the Iron Man match between Brett and Shawn, is actually broken up into like 4 15-minute matches because of the pacings and everything. But there's if you go back and watch the Hell in a Cell, Foley and Undertaker, as much as that was accidental, the second and what happened from there, because of the stop-start nature of the big bumps, it feels like the match ends and then starts again. So it's just a conglomerate of spots and moments. And it doesn't feel like it's hard to, if I was to ask you, how long do you think that match went for? How confident would you be able to say start to finish that you would be able to time it?
Oh, very difficult. Right? Very difficult.
Exactly. And I think that's, it is something that you do. I think the last week's Smackdown with the stop-start of the first, was it a singles match, then it was a tag, and then a trios or something, or a 5-on-5 or whatever that was.
That match, yeah.
That was again designed. We've got a longer amount of time. We want to get through this. We want to keep the audience attention span. Yeah. So we're going to keep changing this and stop-start. And that sadly kind of felt like that in the Women's Rumble once with the 24/7 thing. So you're right. It didn't feel special going from number 3 to winning it. And I think that also actually kind of hurt Edge, is it didn't feel special him going from 1 to or number 2, whatever number he was, to winning it. Number 1, I think we've seen that story a few times now. And we literally just saw that story as well earlier on with Bianca Belair at number 3, which isn't much different to number 1 and 2. That we didn't really feel like he'd survived through it. Whereas you go back and watch the 92 Rumble with Ric Flair winning, or even Shawn Michaels winning a 95 Rumble, even though that match is a match where everyone comes out every 1 minute, it feels like something,
Yeah. I really rate the 91 Rumble, Dan. The Rick Martel segment feels like an attempt to try what they went on to do in 92 with Ric Flair.
Jeremy Stanley says the Women's Rumble didn't have Dice and Domino's manager Cherry, so I disconnected immediately. I think we'd have all popped. We'd have gone, bloody hell, I forgot about her. I think we'd have all popped the cherry. Just on the randomness of it,
We will do a Nips game at the end, Danny. That's all good, man. We'll save it for the end if that's all right.
As for the women, as for the 91 Rumble, yes, I do remember that.
Sorry. Yeah.
It's a fun Rumble.
Yeah.
It's nothing. I don't think it's a special Rumble, but I think it's a fun Rumble. Like, I've got that Reginald fella out at the moment. I think I'm a few minutes behind you still.
Yeah, so it looks like Bianca's going into a feud with Carmella, which absolutely makes sense.
That means, though, that we've got, Carmella losing 2 feuds on the trot.
Yeah. But, but is that okay? I don't know.
Is it, though? Like, she's just come back, so, like, what's her momentum?
Yeah, well, there's no momentum. Well, the momentum is she's just been in a championship feud. Now she's going down to this, and then I assume she'll go down to the next one and hopefully win that feud to keep her some sort of relevancy. Looking fantastic, by the way, in the PVC. And ask Dan if he's worked with any AEW superstars. Dan should be on AEW. Have you worked with any AEW superstars, Dan?
Just pretty much majority of the roster. Tomorrow night we're actually doing a stream on the Eve YouTube channel from 11 p.m. UK, 6 p.m. Eastern US. And it's an AEW special because the majority of the women competing in their women's title eliminator tournament have competed in Eve. And so we're going to be streaming a number of those matches and also doing it as an introduction. So if you haven't seen a number of those women, and I understand a lot of people have not seen a lot of the Japanese women specifically, then watch the stream and I'll be doing a voiceover as well at times and talking about a number of the women and interesting facts and some stories about them and going over and the reason why you should be excited, because it is an incredible tournament that they've lined up talent-wise. It really, really is. So and there's actually a few matches from Japan as well on there from a couple of the wrestlers that haven't appeared in Eve. What I've done is I've spoken to our friends in Japan who have got matches featuring those individuals, and they've basically said, please put the matches on your YouTube stream. We want more people to know them and to know us. So it's like, awesome.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So yeah, go check that out on Saturday. Dan streams where he talks about when he actually goes live and talks about what's happening are outstanding. Like, you will get so much insight into both the wrestling matches, the wrestling industry, and the larger wrestling landscape in general. So please go check them out. All the links are in the description. And yeah, see what you think.
Thank you.
It's all right.
Yeah, come join us tomorrow night. Yeah,
tomorrow
absolutely.
Night, man. Yeah, absolutely.
And you'll see a lot on there. I haven't got the audio, but Millie is saying that there's a lot of sass and savagery going on right now.
I've got a little bit of audio. Sorry, I'm half talking to you though because I'm interested in what you're saying. Sasha is looking even better than Carmella. Sasha, they're all beautiful. Are the matches you stream old Eve, or are they live, or from a few months ago, or years, or what? Says Jeremy.
Depends on the match. I mean, we haven't been able to run since March last year because the UK has pretty much been in lockdown since March last year. We were set to do a no fans taping. About 4 weeks ago, and literally the day before the UK was put into a harsher lockdown. We were in a tier system, and I was able to do it, and we were scheduled to be taping on a Sunday, and literally on a Saturday the UK was put into lockdown. That put an end to that. But as soon as this lockdown is over, we'll be back to taping in a no fans environment. And that's part of the reason from doing the stream is because people are sending in their super chats and subscribing to our Eve on Demand, and that's basically paying because the thing about doing these no fans shows is you're losing the ticket money, and so therefore how do you pay for the shows? Because that's very important.
Absolutely,
and so
of course.
So that is the purpose behind doing that is raising those funds and using those funds to replace the ticket money to put on the shows once we're out of this lockdown, which, as I understand it, I believe we're supposed to be ending on March the 8th, something like that.
Who knows?
But I've actually been working on another project as well in the meantime, which I can't go into full details here, but it's super, super, super exciting.
Wow.
So,
very exciting.
So there's a lot of cool shit going on. Basically, there's a lot of cool shit going on.
Cool.
So some of the matches that you may see will be from 2020 on tomorrow night's AEW special stream. Some of the matches may be from 2019. because or it'll be late 2019 because there's May Saruga on tomorrow night's stream, Britt Baker on tomorrow night's stream. I'm assuming most people know Britt Baker, but also Yuka Sakazaki, Maki Ito. There's some Shana on tomorrow night's stream as well for anyone that doesn't really know her.
Nice.
There's also Emi Sakura. There's a lot of good stuff.
I've been really enjoying it, Emi Sakura, because I was only exposed to her AEW stuff, and
they ballsed up the presentation.
They did, yeah. They absolutely did, yeah.
They didn't know, and bless, they didn't give Emi any real character or promo stuff going in, and she just made it herself. She started tweeting this long story, and she did this long thread going through the history of her and Riho, and it got a lot of traction, thankfully. But if she'd have never done that, there'd have been even less interest because they never made. And I think, the issue there is there's a pulling of what direction, or at least there was at that time, of what direction they wanted the women's division to go. There was some people in control there that wanted to go more of a certain look, aspect. Yeah. And there were some people there that were just like, I want the best wrestling. And Emi is 42 years old. She doesn't look like Carmella. No. Therefore that went against her. And I feel that there was some people there that were therefore using that because they recognized how great she was as a wrestler because they had her actually as the trainer of the women as well. It was her and Dustin Rhodes training the girls prior to the shows. And so, they recognized how good that Emi is, and Emi is outstanding. You think she trained Riho, she trained Hikaru Shida. She trained May Saruga. But I feel that there are people there that were just weren't giving Emi the time that she deserved because they felt that this is a 42-year-old woman that doesn't look like, an Instagram model. Right. And that's where I think they didn't know. Therefore, people didn't know how to, understand the character of the Freddie Mercury stuff. No, not at all. It wasn't explained, and Jim Ross is there confused as well. Yeah, which doesn't. And they didn't give her any special kind of introduction with it. When you watch the stream tomorrow night, you'll see how we present it. Yeah. Are you showing a match from Eve tomorrow with Emi? I didn't know if you were showing that match. That she had. Yeah. Oh, very nice. So cool. And it'll be including her Freddie Mercury character. So you will get to see how we present Emi. Oh, right. Well. That's interesting. So, yeah. Because I think on some of the streams you've watched, you've seen some of the older Emi stuff Freddie Mercury character change. That's right. Yeah. The thing about it is just Emi's just a massive Queen fan. That is real. That is legit. And she just felt like a kindred spirit. When she was over here, I was taking her to Madame Tussauds to see, and she cried. Really? And she saw the waxwork of Freddie Mercury. Yeah, she cried. Wow, because it meant she learned so much about Freddie Mercury as well, and who he was as a performer and what he went through and how much passion, because, wrestling's no different. It's about performing, and she just felt that kind of kindred spirit to him, and the more she learned and read about him. So, right. Yeah. Bless her. Dan, do you know whether the Japan bracket will be held? Oh, Dan, people asking for very direct reference here. Yeah, I do I know where? No, I don't know. I mean, technically I do, but I'm not at liberty to kind of. But I know. Technically, yes. Right? Yes, I do. I know absolutely nothing, but I assume it will be. Emi working with there's a ring, isn't there? Because I know. Oh yeah, this ain't going to be like Get a Move. There is. No, this is going to be in a ring. Yes. In a ring, yes. This is going to be a ring in a venue. Yeah, and I think it will be filmed in Japan, and hopefully they can do what they need to do to get the wrestler across who wins that side of the tournament. Yeah, I mean, it's what I found fascinating was that Riho was on the US side. I thought that was incredibly fascinating. Yeah, obviously she must have got across to the US to be able to do that. So yeah, she did. Yeah, she's staying with Hikaru, I think. Is she? Yeah, I believe that's right. Fantastic. So, which is funny because at the moment Hikaru is actually in Japan. Is she? Yeah. So, right. Oh, this is coming out. Bianca reminds me of a right bitch I used to work with. She was stupid to the 9th degree, so I don't like her, says Jack. Wow.
I've not done an Eve super chat yet this month. Then again, we're only 5 days into the month, says Millie. Well, I'm sure Dan just appreciates you being there more than anything else, and your continued support.
Absolutely. Millie's outstanding. She's also a subscriber to Eve on Demand, and that is again, it's the subscribers that keep us going and keep us in that position. Without subscribers, then what position is anyone going to be in to actually put on shows? Not just us. For anyone, you're going to see there's going to be so few independent wrestling promotions around when everything starts again.
Yeah, because you can't guarantee an audience. You can't. It's a difficult time for wrestling, especially independent wrestling.
I've got Otis making his way to the ring right now.
Oh right, okay. So
along with Gable Chad.
I can't pause this stream. Don't worry about it.
Doesn't matter.
I'm half watching it anyway. It feels like the lockdown will never end. The 12th of a never. Yeah, man. Yeah, unfortunately it does, Raymond. Unfortunately it does. Millie Carden, you can't just tease us like that, Dan. Oh, yes, he can. He's learned. You see, he's not showing you what's in the box now. He's learned to leave that anticipation.
Well, that's not my stuff to. Do you know what I mean?
No, absolutely. 7 out of 10 at the halfway point.
There was someone that, I did have one of the news agencies contact me asking that had heard that the thing was going on in Japan. Right. And I don't like lying to people.
No.
Right. But it's not my position to call, so I had to totally kayfabe it.
Oh, really?
And I really hate lying. If anyone knows me, it's just I had to find a way to answer it without answering it, because I just don't like lying. If anyone knows me, knows I'm really anti-Father Christmas and Santa Claus, right? Teaching kids about them. And the reason I'm anti that is I'm once someone that kids respect that's now, by the way, this is me. This isn't me telling you should do it. Okay? This is, I'm not the kind of person that says this is the way to parent. No, you parent how you parent.
Kayfabing Santa Claus right now.
But I I'm not a fan of it, because I feel that once a parent who is the most trusted person in a child's world, tells them that, yes, it is possible for someone to go around the planet and deliver presents, and who keeps an idea on who's naughty and who's nice and all of that. It's what else are you opening them up to as believing that's possible? Mm-hmm. You can easily, believe that. Not to mention, then it comes the awkward position of when do you tell kids that it's not true? Because I have seen it so many times at school. There'd be the kids that did believe, and there'd be the kids that knew it wasn't. And the kids that knew it wasn't would bully the kids that believe, and the parents were still insistent. I'd see them at the end of them saying, they say that there's no Santa Claus. Oh, well, they're just lying. They're just trying to get you. Of course there's a Santa Claus. And it's just your kid's getting bullied, man.
Yeah.
Come on. What are you gaining out of this? Oh, it's the magic in their life. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it doesn't feel pretty magical when they're getting the shit kicked out of them, or they're getting teased and crying as a result, depending on their age,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that's my personal take on it. So I wouldn't I remember a load of the family were really adamant about Santa Claus, and so I was just fine, whatever. And then my daughter was 6, and she just says to me, there's no such thing as Santa Claus, is there? And inside I'm like, oh, thank God. Because I can now say no, because I won't lie, and everyone knows if she asked me, I'd never lie. And so I went, I actually went to her, what makes you say that? So I didn't answer it first, because I'm trying to be the good dad here.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, it's just not possible. And she just starts breaking it down. And so I think, well, you're right. And she goes, the Easter Bunny, that's not real either, is it?
So how's your daughter? Has your daughter seen The Fiend yet? And what's her take on that?
Oh, she hates WWE. She just thinks it's so stupid. And also because she knows about some of our interactions with WWE, which usually are good, but sometimes have not been so good. She's just kind of screw them, but she's 13 now. But yeah, she was just there's none of that. And then she went, Tooth Fairy gives me money, so I think that one can stay. So I was just because she already knew that we weren't going to take presents and whatnot away, but maybe the Tooth Fairy was a bit too much. Didn't want to lose that one.
There's adverts for the Tooth Fairy on, so you'd be fine.
The Rock movie?
The what, sorry?
The Rock.
The Rock movie. Oh God, no. The Otis is. What do you think about this tag team between Chad Gable and Otis? I think it's pretty good for Otis actually because he can get that hot tag and you can get Chad Gable to work.
Why did they split them up? If they had no idea what to do with Otis and Tucker, then why split them up?
Yeah,
like it really is a case of we don't know. Like Chad Gable we'll just change him to whatever we need him to be.
Yeah,
like and it's just really a case of, as much as I like both talents, and I think both are marketable in very different ways. I mean, and you'll hear me say that about pretty much everyone in WWE. I don't think WWE, there's only like the odd ones where I get really, like, ugh, and that's like your Baron Corbins and whatnot. For the most part, I think, as I said earlier, WWE have an incredible roster, really, really do.
100%.
But it really does feel as though it doesn't matter that they're a team as such, because it's just filler, like you don't really believe in them. Nice chaos theory from Chad. Glorious DDT. I'm really behind you, aren't I?
Yes, but it's all right, and that's
so.
The interesting thing is, I think that this is almost like WWE realizing what Otis's position is, and that as a tag team, he really works. You can do that comedy stuff, and that works in that tag team setting. Whereas singles, and the hot tag, the build to the hot tag, it's a bit like Road Dogg really works with in a tag team. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
There's certain wrestlers that work in a tag team, and I think Otis is one of them.
Funny thing is I always thought that Road Gunn had the bigger upside than Billy Gunn, because Billy Gunn was nowhere near as charismatic as what Road Dogg was.
No.
And Road Dogg was phenomenal in that when they were doing something with that hardcore title. Like the matches that him and Gangrel and him and Al Snow had were freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Anyone that hasn't seen those, go back, man, because that was some real good stuff. The Road Dogg match with Gangrel, especially, I remember being outstanding.
Right. I don't remember that one, so
it's worth going back. Sorry, Millie says the tease comment was on what you were teasing about upcoming Eve project. Oh, right, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, I can't go into that. I still can't go into that one. No. Some real good Black History Month stuff going on here.
Edge Bianca shouldn't pick their opponents at Mania. There is still Elimination and Chamber and Fastlane before the shows. I don't see how they're going to do Elimination Chamber with the Raw division.
I always assumed it was going to be the Raw. I always assumed both of them were going to have an Elimination Chamber of some form. One a number one contender and one a championship match maybe.
Well, these days they tend to have one because they have the women's Elimination Chamber.
Oh, yes, you're right. They do. I forgot about that.
And the reason I say Smackdown is because you've got
elimination chambers.
Well, exactly, yeah, which is no chance, yeah. So you've got on against Roman, you've got Shinsuke, Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, potentially Jey Uso in there. You've got 5-6 men easy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Drew McIntyre.
Well, this is where they need to. This is where it really kind of exposes, the lack of depth in the
Raw roster,
in the Raw roster, and also they're going to need to protect Lashley because they ain't going to want Lashley to just get pinned.
No. Not if to build into Brock as well.
Exactly. So, how do you do a number one contenders match, Elimination Chamber match, and not put Lashley in? But how do you put him in it and not have him pinned?
Yeah.
Like what do you do? But again, Raw is to show that there's, it is a mess. It's not enjoyable to watch. It's the 3 longest hours of television, and everything feels rather inconsequential. So and we were playing that game earlier, and I invite everyone in the chat to play along. What's the WrestleMania card? What feels like wrestling? Don't just think, well, they can do this. What can do that? What sells pay-per-views? What sells subscriptions? What sells full stop? What's going to get the media buzz? Apparently John Cena can't do it because they're filming the DC show.
Yeah, he said that. I read that actually. Yeah, interesting.
So what's WrestleMania? What feels special? Because The reason why I said about Edge and Roman is because I had like no other ideas outside of them bringing back some, outside of like Goldberg, losing against Drew but then winning the Rumble, outside of, Brock coming, but then it would be Brock and Drew or Brock and Roman, and we've seen those matches again, and it doesn't feel right to get matches again. Like I know someone said earlier, AJ and Drew, and I just don't see them doing a TLC match in December and then doing WrestleMania in April.
No,
it's too close.
But Dan, that might be because they have no idea, and it might end up being that just because they're just clueless on what they want. And that's one of the issues. Like they don't seem to like Edge for me winning the Rumble just made sense.
It made sense. There was nothing wrong in the logic behind Edge winning the Rumble.
No,
nothing wrong in the logic. Not exciting, but nothing wrong in the logic.
I agree, and the issue is WWE are booking themselves into a corner because Edge sort of works with everyone if it needs to, but it's all about WWE not having that foresight to know what they're going to do, and we saw that in the build up to the Rumble as well. I hate lying as well. It's hard to trust that person anymore. It is Jake. Should try not to lie. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like because I was asked a direct question. Like, I didn't answer it, but I just had to kind of veer away from it. But, I hate lying. My wife always says, like, I'd be the worst person. Because if I even try to lie as part of a joke, my eyebrows start twitching and I start laughing. I've just got the worst tell. Like, I just can't do it.
What's happening here? Why is he on?
What, the throwback to Saturday night? Or are you past that?
Past that.
What do you got on your screen, brother?
Brother, what do you think?
Yeah. Oh, so you have got him on.
Yeah.
That's what I'm on as well. It's funny. We actually had a very similar finish than what they were showing earlier, by the way, on an Eve match once, and you can literally hear me lose my temper and throw the mic down.
What was that? Sorry. What do you mean?
The ref counted 3 and the shoulder was up, and it was so clearly up, and I was so annoyed that the ref counted 3 still because I was like, look, you got to call it like a shoot. If that shoulder is up, you do not count. It doesn't matter that it's the finish,
Yeah, Hogan's being brought back in.
Well, he's got his. I'm assuming he's there to just kind of pimp some merch and try to get people interested in Mania.
Which makes sense. I mean, he's a name. The part of the issue is though, if you start diluting it, then you can't advertise him anymore as being that special event. Which I do.
Honestly, I just wouldn't bring Hogan on. I think
it still gets people excited. Dan.
I'll be honest with you. I was never comfortable with Warrior being on.
Well, no, not after some of the stuff he said.
Exactly, and he never and as far as I'm aware, and people are there can change, can tell me he's wrong. Because I'm not a big believer in when you do something wrong, that's it, done for the rest of your life. Because otherwise, we might as well just bring back the freaking death penalty. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. You need rehabilitation and the opportunity to repent for
exactly. And I believe, but I never saw anything from Warrior.
No, the WWE tried to make it sound like it is, like he was, and there were several things where I think his ex-wife, has sort of said that he was getting better. But yeah, he said some freaking horrific stuff, man.
Yeah, Millie says the pin in the stream yesterday with Debbie and Jet. Exactly that, Millie. And yes, I have zero poker face. Raymond Hewer says to me, the WrestleMania card is like the difference between ignorance and apathy. I don't know and I don't care. Yeah, and isn't that a problem?
Absolutely.
Because, and what were you more excited for? I want you to like Rumble or Mania? I mean, I'll be honest, I've always been more excited for Rumble than Mania. Mania has kind of felt like a letdown. Somehow it was just matches, whereas Rumble was special. You didn't get just match because the Rumble only happened once a year, and apparently unless they're in fucking Saudi Arabia. But like the Rumble was special, so.
Yeah, no, I agree. I quite enjoyed. I was looking forward to this Rumble because I wanted to see where they were going to go and see what we was getting in the build to WrestleMania, and I feel like we got answers at the Rumble. Any chance Bianca picks both Sasha and Asuka? Asuka's not going into Mania with that title.
you know, I mean, I don't know. I feel you're right, because she's just got zero momentum.
Absolutely. Is it like that championship is just buried completely at the minute, unfortunately.
Have they ever done a proper match between Shayna and Asuka? Because how did they botch Shayna, man? How did they botch Shayna? Like, how do you botch someone that looks legitimately frightening
and has a background
and and can legitimately kick your ass? How do you botch someone that's real? Well, you know, it's not the first time, but it's just like, but Shayna was special, man. Shayna was so
she
special.
Absolutely was, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I'm not a massive fan of Shayna matches. In fact, my favourite Shayna match was against Toni Storm at the Royal Albert Hall show they did.
Pass. I was there, but I didn't see everything.
That was a very good match, But Toni Storm's that wonderful babyface that can really sell that sort of stuff, and Shayna looks nasty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
And the thing is, it's probably Shayna a little less filtered because of it
probably.
being an NXT show or an NXT UK show, rather than, or at the time it was just promoted as WWE UK.
Yes,
So therefore, she wouldn't have had the filter and control from the producers like she does on Raw.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, guys, like during that show, we had like Aleister Black in it and Velveteen Dream. We had so many performers in that show trying to get over the UK scene. Dan, my man, you just told my 11-year-old daughter someone doesn't exist. How does that make you feel, Dan? The power of streaming.
Well, here's the thing. I've saved you an awkward conversation later on in life. I've just lost my...
Sorry, go on. You lost your stream.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, we just got Edge putting over Shinsuke Nakamura backstage, shaking his hand. I do feel like Edge is a good person.
So
for that.
You know he's definitely a babyface now.
Yes,
just to emphasize that spot.
Absolutely. Yeah, I do like the thing with Edge is he's so likable, isn't he? By everyone that you can do that quite easily. You know, you can have him going around just saying, "Pete Dunne,
I don't know if you knew, by the way, but I've lost you.
You've lost me.
Ticks. I will have you back in 2 ticks.
No worries, mate. No worries. Millie Carden, exactly. I'm always way more excited for the Rumble. It's my favourite pay-per-view. I can agree with that, Millie. I can agree with that, mate. You know, I'm older than dirt. I watched the first 3 WrestleManias on closed circuit. I watched Hulk slam Andre sitting in MSG. Man, cool. Yeah, it's not older than dirt. It's just you're an age and you're in a wrestling fan, and that's all good, man. Okay. Sammy is here. Can you hear me, Dan?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Wonderful. Dan has 0 poker face, apparently.
Yeah, I do. That's true. That's absolutely true.
Did you get the comment about you ruining Santa for one of the chat's daughters?
Yeah, no, I replied to that. Did you not hear me?
No, that's when you went quiet.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, what I said was... the
awkward conversation. No, you did reply to it.
Yeah.
You just went very quiet for a long time.
Yeah, I knocked the cable on my... on the Blue Yeti out by mistake because I'm just pimping the stream basically.
Oh, thanks, man. Cool. Rock and roll. And thank you all for joining us. We do appreciate it. And thanks, Dan, for his time. If you haven't subscribed to Dan, all the links are in the description. Eve Pro Wrestling, outstanding stuff, good fun, free wrestling on YouTube during this really bad time. And then support them, check out their on-demand service as well as merchandise, etc. All the links are in the description. So go and check them out, brothers and sisters.
Millie is quick to retweet. Thank you, Millie.
Thanks, Millie. Oh, you got my quote. You got my tweet earlier. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, Millie Carden says Becky announced her pregnancy, chose to give the belt to Asuka because she'd won the Money in the Bank, and the company didn't bother to even try to save Shayna's push. Wow, that's what happened.
It is, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's...
When the women's tag belts mean more than the Raw belts, there's something wrong there. Apollo's very nice in the ring, man. I feel like we've seen some I haven't really been listening to the stories because it's quite difficult to do. But I feel like they've delivered some clean matches tonight, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I miss Cesaro and Daniel Bryan, as you know.
Yeah.
So I can't comment on that one. I'd have probably preferred that, but I really enjoyed Ruby Riot and Bailey. I thought they gelled beautifully well together, and I'd love to see them two work together again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hopefully we will. And I think that's a prime example of Bailey and Ruby. There's no story between them. Sadly, there was a storyline finish involving Billy Kay, which I hate that heels can't win clean in WWE. It really bothers me.
Yeah.
It's like heels. If heels cheat all the time, then in my opinion, you just make the baby faces look stupid for always, losing to dodgy finishes.
Yep.
Heels should be able to, win because they should still be very talented wrestlers. Yeah. And when they go babyface, it then makes no sense if they're suddenly able to win without cheating. It just should be that they're also prepared to go to that next level. Yeah. Whether it be because of a vicious side, whether it be because of bitterness, whether it be because of cheating and then desperate because they're not quite as good as that specific person to get involved. Like, there's one thing between taking shortcuts in a match. There's another thing when it's constantly the finish of the match.
Agreed.
And I think that takes away from any kind of heat.
Wow.
I haven't seen what you've just seen. I've still got that to come.
Yeah, enjoy that.
All right, I will.
Camera work was great as well with it. Yeah, sorry. And we've gone to break.
Oh, don't tell me he does the spear off the apron or through the ropes again. It's not that, is it?
No. It's a move. It's a move off the apron. It's a move off the apron that just looks beautiful.
Okay.
It's not shocking. It's just beautiful. He's a very talented performer, Apollo Crews. Very talented.
Oh, was it the somersault plancher?
No. Off the apron. It was a back moonsault.
Oh, yeah, he's just doing that now.
There you go. Camera works really nice.
I'm really behind you.
You are, and I keep trying to pause.
That is a wicked moonsault.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful.
Oh, the way he tucks his knees as well.
Yeah, man, and the extension of arms prior to it, man.
The placement of that is stunning.
Beautiful.
And Sammy there as well, like, he doesn't do the flashy thing off it because it doesn't suit his desperate character.
No. Yeah.
But the timing of it and the velocity, the force with how he comes out of nowhere, off the steps still wiping Apollo out. Beautiful.
Really good.
You wouldn't expect anything less from these three, though.
No.
This comes back to what we're saying, though. Our issue is not with the talent.
No, absolutely not. Like both, I got you, Dan. I made an exception and watched Becky's announcement. I like that segment. It was a very good. It was WWE occasionally use real life in a way that works, and that was an example of them doing that. Of making this sort of moment, and WWE have some examples where that works. They have other examples where it doesn't work, But I thought that was a genuine moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I didn't believe Bianca's promo at the end. Firstly, because we had it on SmackDown the night before, which felt really sort of forced. We watched that together, didn't we, last week?
Oh, I just suddenly saw it was Bert as well. I didn't expect someone to be, 11-year-olds to be up at 2:37 in the morning. Just say I'm lying. Just say I'm lying.
There we go. So yeah, cool. Let's talk a little bit about Kenta, shall we?
Yeah, it's adverts at the moment still for me. I assume it is for you.
Yeah, it's going on a long time, these adverts as well. So him showing up in New Japan, Jerry made a good point earlier that anyone that doesn't know New Japan, it wasn't a big deal because nobody knows who he is.
Yeah, and I felt that commentary didn't do a good job of pointing that out neither, to be honest with you.
No.
I felt that commentary really missed an important piece of the story out.
But I think for me, the exciting part of it isn't who it is particularly. It's about that door being open. And
it is, but most people, a lot of the casuals, which I assume is what Jared was getting at, isn't going to understand anything about what that door is. And
no.
And who are even New Japan Pro Wrestling?
Absolutely. So for me, that was a bigger debut than sort of the Sting debut, if you like. But that's because I know the potential of what this could be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I felt I felt Sting was bigger because he's more recognized and more well known.
Right.
With Kenta, not so much.
Absolutely. In terms of star power,
I think it's very interesting for the people like us and the people that are in this chat. I think that it's very, very important for us, or very interesting for us. But I think overall, I think they're just trying to get all those wrestling fans together. Some of the disenfranchised wrestling fans, and try to bring a lot of those wrestling fans together. And I applaud them for that. I think that's a great idea, but I think there needs to be more explanation. I need to dash off suddenly. I can hear my dog scrapping at the door.
No worries, mate.
Apologies, 2 ticks.
Oh, no problem, man. So we now got Sami Zayn, Big E, and Apollo Crews in the ring. And another nice match, man. Another nice, solid, clean match. Tell your son that Dan is being naughty. Yeah, absolutely. Yep, telling people that Santa isn't real. Sami Zayn, Apollo Crews just coming out of nowhere with that drop kick. I'm so pleased to see Apollo in this position. And the belly to back from Big E. And another one, baby. Oh, I thought he was going to go over the top then. No. Really nice footwork, man, to be able to get out of the way and stuff like that. If you just watch the feet in that match, like, really nice stuff. And the desperate Sami now with a sleeper from behind Big E. Yeah, thank you all so much for joining us in chat tonight. It's been awesome to hear both Dan talk and hear you ask your questions to Dan, etc., etc. Double splash there from Big E. I really appreciate that, and we'd certainly appreciate his time, as you know, man. And like I say, I've been really enjoying Eve, so do check it out. Do check it out. Hello, the Cowboy Geordie. How you doing, my dude? Lovely to see you. Thank you for popping in. Dan will be back in a second. Is it Dan's tweet that you just saw, my dude? I met Santa. Looked like my granddad, says Jack. Bloody hell, mate. Bloody hell. Oh, wow. Oh, Sami Zayn kicks out. This is a good match of having. I feel like there's been some solid wrestling in tonight's show. I really do. I really do. From Cesaro to Daniel Bryan to this triple threat. And the thing about this triple threat, I'm not a fan of triple threats, but Sami really works in a triple threat because he's got that desperation, that sort of chicken shit heel, if you want, that really works for matches, for triple threat matches. I thought one of the best matches of last year was his ladder match against Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles, but look at the talent that was in that match. Big splash there from Big E on the apron. Feels like a real showcase for Big E at the minute, doesn't it? Wonder if this Intercontinental Championship run is a test for something bigger. I do hope so. Apollo with a beautiful splash onto Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn kicks out. So is Apollo heel? I mean, I know that he's sort of got affiliations with Roman, but yeah. Sami is good. Yeah, he is, man. He is. And he's the one person that seems to make triple threats actually work. And WWE replaying a lot of Apollo Crews tonight, man. A lot of Apollo Crews, which is good for him. Definitely. So hopefully someone in the back notices how good he's doing. Really good Smackdown. It has been good. It has been good. Big E sending both men flying with the belly to back suplex. Obviously, Dan's been on the stream, Cowboy, as well. So we've just been talking to him a lot about everything that's been happening within the week of wrestling as well. When he comes back, feel free to ask him any questions. But yeah, I've enjoyed this Smackdown, certainly. Entertaining. Big E observing good. How about incredible? He is. Sami Zayn is incredible. It's a shame they're using him now, but they haven't in the past at times. It's weird. But I'm surprised because let's not forget, dude. Sami was such a good face in WWE. Hell of a kick. Is he going to get the pin here? 1, 2. No, Apollo Crews helps him out. Apollo Crews helps him out. Brilliant. I'll read that when Dan comes back, Raymond. Is that Dan back?
I'm back.
Hello, my dear. How are you doing?
Hello. What have I missed?
Another excellent match. Like, Sami Zayn, man. You know, we was talking before about triple threat matches not being a pain in the ass and all that sort of stuff, and Sami Zayn makes it work so well.
Yeah.
Because he's got that chicken shit heel.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh, wow, Jesus. Apollo's looks beautiful in the match. They've shown several replays of Apollo, which is brilliant.
Great
for him.
showcase. Wonderful, because Apollo is super talented.
Absolutely.
Just getting into chat, I see I've missed a few bits here. Let me make sure I got all my things up.
2.
Raymond Hewer says, Dan, if you can find it, watch BBC's version of Terry Pratchett's Hogfather, where Death explains when we lie to children. My wife is a huge Terry Pratchett fan, and actually, there's secret Terry Pratchett coding in a number of things in Eve. Some of it uses binary code. One of the Eve Championship has binary code of GNU Terry Pratchett hidden within the design.
Seriously?
Seriously.
I mean, look, guys, you wouldn't have got that information if you want to hear. I mean, that's...
there's a lot of hidden stuff because my wife is adores Terry Pratchett. Oh, I think I'm at the finish. Yep. What I saw, that was very good.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it really neat.
This has been a very good wrestling show.
It has, yeah.
Which is I'm here for.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
So I know the Hogfather. We've got the Hogfather several times in several editions. Again, the cabinet at the top of the stairs in my house is just full of all sorts of things. My wife's got a Terry Pratchett Discworld tattoo as well. So
wow.
Yeah, I do know it. I do know it. I couldn't avoid it if I tried. So.
Yeah, Dan is the man. He is a really cool dude from what I've heard. Dan is back. Best pals partying with the Geordie Cowboys. The Geordie Cowboys. Is this Alan? The Geordie Cowboys. I wonder if he's changed his name. That's a great name, though. The Cowboy Geordie. Very good name.
This has been a really good, like I say, wrestling show.
I agree.
And I'm always going to, I know I've gone on about it a few times, but I'm always up for more Ruby Riot because she's so underutilized. And I'm always asked that question, if you could bring anyone in for WWE, and I always say, taking out my friends there, and the people I've worked with, in the past, Ruby Riot, without a doubt. And it's been like, what, not Io Shirai, not Asuka, and it's just like, no, Ruby Riot, because you already know what Io Shirai can do, and you already know what Asuka can do.
Yeah.
But trust me, you don't know what Ruby Riot can do. And that's the bit that excites me as a producer.
Yeah.
Is getting to work with talent that you don't know how good they truly are just yet. And that's why I talk on, when people go on about NXT UK, it's just like, look, you only get 4 minutes of that lot.
Yeah.
I know what they can do.
Yeah.
Anyone that watches Eve knows what they can do.
Absolutely.
I think that's where a lot of people have got the question. I keep seeing people talk about the fact that obviously, they're building to Kaylee and Mako. And they're, I read it online actually. I read on the Observer, they said that, they appear to be telling the exact same story that we told in Eve.
Did Wrestling Observer say that?
Yeah, there was in the Wrestling Observer this week.
Nice.
Which there is a slight difference. Kaylee was baby. Kaylee wasn't heel. But everything else, although we haven't seen a great deal, was very much the same. It was Kaylee, wanting to be, fight the best in the world and, show that she's the best in the world, So...
Exciting times, man. Exciting times. I look forward to that match. I do wonder if they're going to hold it off until... Because when's TakeOver? Is it July?
I have no idea.
It's miles away, so I wonder if they're going to hold that till then or not. I mean, the thing with a 1 hour show is they don't have to give you everything on each show, which is part of the reason NXT UK is a great show, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
The...
Give me 2 ticks a second. I've just got to sort the dog again.
No worries, my dude. We have a lovely little Geordie community here. No such thing as a little Geordie community, Jake, and we are appreciative of all the Geordies that are here. All the Geordies. I'm a big Pratchett fan myself. I was once lucky enough to meet him. Nice, man. Nice. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Please, if you haven't already, check out the links in the description for Eve Pro Wrestling. Dan is doing a live stream tomorrow night, focusing on AEW's women's tournament. So several of the performers who are in that, he's showing matches from both his promotions as well as promotions in Japan who he's been working with, showing matches so you can get a little bit of an insight into the people who are in the AEW tournament. Because let's be honest, it's difficult to know everyone, and Dan's going to give us a little bit of that insight on Saturday night. So do subscribe to Eve, turn on the notifications for when that happens. I'm excited for that one. When's the last time we've seen Edge on SmackDown?
Very long time, I would imagine.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Dan. I didn't realise you're back. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome. Welcome to the Gimme Wrestling Podcast.
Just in Roman Hugh, I'm a big Pratchett fan myself. Lucky enough to meet him once. Yeah, Emily sadly never met him. Well, she does have an autographed book from him, but it wasn't an in-person meet, sadly. So that's very cool that you got to do that. There's very few people, like, because of my job, and because like Eve was starting, like, got a lot of celebrities coming along to the shows, I've kind of like past that point of marking out, I guess, or being a bit starstruck around people, because I'm just there to, and I've worked with a lot, because when Eve, you know, we were like most people, like we were doing so many TV shows, it's unreal. So I've literally worked with a who's who. But there's like, but Terry Pratchett is like one of those people that'd be like, that would be cool. Billy Connolly, I'm gutted that I never, you know, because I never will, obviously now. You know, Billy Connolly is another one that would have been awesome to have met him. There's very few people though where it's just like that'd be super cool. You know, I'm more amazed by like people that have you know, achieved rather, you know, some incredible things in life, like, you know, like you look at you know, Captain Sir Tom Moore, everything that guy did, like within a space of a few months, like, you know, you'd want to shake that person by the hand, you know.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. It's interesting in terms of celebrity, because obviously I've worked with a fair few myself in my daytime job.
Of course, in theatre, yes.
And so it's interesting. I'd met Robert Plant and was talking to him, obviously sort of a massive musician. And then a couple of days after, I met Wednesday 13, and there I was marking out of a Wednesday 13. Yeah, quite happy.
I've never heard of Wednesday 13.
Exactly, yeah.
Right?
So
that's the thing, isn't it? It's not about like, because when it's your job, you kind of like, and half the time you're just like, oh, how much of an arsehole are they going to be? And at least when I was like at the, you know, when they were coming to my shows, no one was going to be an arsehole to me, because they're, you know, they were inviting me to their parties. Which is just really freaking weird. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when it comes to like working and, you know, in that aspect, you are a bit like, you know, how difficult is this? Like, we were supposed to do an angle with Danny Boyle.
Right.
And he lost his bottle on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were doing it on the One Show. The One Show, by the way, for people that don't know, is watched by 4 million people. Wow. It is one of the most watched programs in the entirety of the UK. And am I saying it right? Danny Boyle, that is the guy that did
director.
Yeah, that's right. So the guy that's known for like doing like the, you know,
the Olympics,
World's Toughest Men and all that kind of stuff, you know, and as well as directing loads of movies and shit. And so the idea was he was supposed to do an angle with Charlie Morgan.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, so we go on there, and we've gone through this all behind and gone through it all with the producers, and we're supposed to be doing this angle with Charlie Morgan and Danny Boyle, and on the day he loses his bottle, and we get, you know, financial advisors, Karen's friend who watches wrestling.
Yeah.
And it's just like, come on, like, you know, it just kind of like takes away. And then it was like, you know, they wanted us to like show an example of wrestling because obviously the whole segment had to change.
Right.
And they wanted us to show an example of wrestling, but we couldn't strike. We couldn't do anything that made it look like it hurt. We couldn't just like, what'd you have us on for, guys?
What did you do? A WWE promo instead?
I got them to approve a chicken wing. That was the most thing that I could get them to approve that had a facial. But even then, I wish we'd never have. I wish we'd never have done it. We had to.
Yeah,
had to, but so I was just trying to make the most out of what it was. The rest of the segment weren't too bad. They did like a little feature of being at Eve, and they did a feature on Klondike Kate, who we'd inducted into the Hall of Fame and everything along those lines. But it's just that, man, can you imagine the publicity doing an angle with Danny Boyle?
Yeah, big time, man. Big time.
Yeah, that'd have been outstanding.
Nice. Louise said SmackDown has been good. Yes, it has. I agreed completely.
Yeah, it's been a decent SmackDown.
It has, yeah. Edge should choose Omega, says Jake. I'd be down with that. I'd be down with that. It won't happen. I'd be down with that. Are you crazy? Wait, don't answer that. Me, future, I'm beyond crazy. The common man, says just Josh. The common man indeed. Yeah, I don't want an answer to this tonight, Dan.
Go on.
I'm sorry, I don't want an answer to who Edge is facing. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they should do the... But at the same time, how do you build up Elimination Chamber? You're absolutely spot on. It's kind of like, especially when you've got 2 pay-per-views, but I agree. I don't really want an answer yet. But I kind of feel like, how do you get around it?
I don't know. Because you can't do because the Elimination Chamber for Roman makes complete sense, but then you can't really do that.
Maybe they'll do 2 Elimination Chambers because you've got another pay-per-view between Elimination Chamber and Mania. Maybe they'll do something at Fastlane.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe they'll do Elimination Chamber and have it be Raw and SmackDown in it.
But then how do you get through weeks of TV of Edge not making a decision? Then he just looks like an indecisive git. You know?
Yeah, but at least he's shaking hands.
Yeah.
Insanity doesn't run in my family. It strolls through, taking the time to get to know everyone. Oh, good. Shaking hands. It's been nearly 11 years since we've seen Edge on SmackDown. Thank you, Collier Crazy Futuristic. I think.
This is the only match. Like looking at it right now, like looking at Edge and Randy Orton opposite one another. Yeah, that's WrestleMania.
Yeah,
that's a WrestleMania match.
Yeah,
I can buy into that.
Yeah.
That story behind. I don't know if I want Edge to win though.
No, Edge. We had someone in chat. I think they unsubscribed to us actually. That he come in and he was like, "Oh, Edge should win at WrestleMania. It's going to be a massive moment for Edge." And I was like, Edge shouldn't win against anyone at WrestleMania. You know?
Yeah, I'm like, I just don't know if he. I think it's more of a better story if Edge doesn't achieve it again.
I think it is.
I think you can tell those stories and make them compelling.
Absolutely.
And you can be far more over losing than you can winning if you know how to present them, present it the right way.
100%. 100%. Alan Gibbons has joined us. We just had your Geordie brother in. Is
that the same guy?
I believe so. Edge versus McIntyre. Like McIntyre goes over. Edge versus Reigns. Reigns goes over. Edge versus Balor or Pete Dunne. It should be Balor or Pete Dunne that go over. You know, this is how WWE should be using the legends. You know.
Do you know what? I would disagree with you. I would if it was NXT. Put the title on Edge. Yeah.
But put the title on Edge to get more
because from a business perspective, it makes sense.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so.
You know.
But that match is going to elevate Pete Dunne if that was to happen. Jesus.
Yeah, but I think Pete Dunne would be elevated from being in a WrestleMania main event and then doing a longer program and coming back and winning it back later or doing whatever. I think that you have to look at the big picture of some viewers on the brand and Edge as champion. Well, maybe it wouldn't because it didn't mean anything this week of Edge being on NXT.
Well, they didn't advertise it on TV. It was all advertised on on.
Did they not advertise on TV?
No, it was just advertised on social media.
Wow.
Edge said it all. I'm impressed, said Julia Futuristic. I've only half been listening.
I got it, but I'm behind.
Yeah, so good. You can catch up. Catch me up. What was the ending, Lewis?
Edge looks old. His red jacket looks more like a Hugh Hefner smoking jacket-y kind of like dressing gown.
Yeah. Wow. So there we go. Don't know what we're getting, but I don't. Like I say, I don't want to know what we're getting at the minute. I'm done, by the way. How am I done? A minute before 3.
Oh, is this the end? Is this the end of the show?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, that flew by, didn't it?
It really did. Which is funny considering it was a bit of a messy stream on my end.
Is that what's happened, Raymond? Is that because we've sort of missed the audio because we end up talking over it? Is that what's happening? A loser retires match?
No, they haven't said that.
That's what Raymond's saying in chat.
No, I've just had Kevin Owens come out, hit Roman, and then walk off, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything. I didn't hear anything about any kind of because Owens ain't retiring.
Who ain't retiring? Roman. Well, Edge ain't retiring either, is he? No one's retiring. But then you can always do, like Raymond said, a shoulder up on a 3 count. And what's your issue with Edge? I have no issue with Edge. Sorry, please, Millie, forgive me. It's absolutely no issue with Edge. I just I think that Edge should be helping elevate performers, not taking the title at the moment. I
also think it's nice to do different stories, and I also believe, and I get some criticism for this. Someone sent me a podcast of some people going back into the EVE archives and reviewing Wrestle Kingdom 2, and Wrestle Kingdom 2 has a heel ending, and people are like, it's Wrestle Kingdom, it shouldn't have a heel ending. It's just like, look, it can't be Christmas every year. It can't be Christmas every night, rather.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, if you have the babyface win in the main event of your big show every year, then the winner of the main event of your big show every year. Yeah. I don't want people to ever know who's going to win. I want people going into the shows to want someone to win.
Yeah.
And not sure who's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is the most, because if I take away your ability to have an emotional connection to the match, why are you watching? You're just watching a bunch of people in their pants pretending to fight.
Absolutely, yeah. That's one of the things that can ruin a match. Either that or sort of you. Oh, did you enjoy Drew and Goldberg?
Yeah, I thought it was as good as it could be.
Hated it.
No, it was like, well, it's a Marmite thing.
Yeah.
I've got no objection to them doing it. And the thing is, a load of people didn't know what the result was going to be because they were scared.
Yeah.
That Goldberg was gonna be a repeat of Goldberg and the Fiend.
Right.
And
yeah.
And that was a scary thought.
It is.
It is. That was absolutely a scary thought. The fact that Goldberg wasn't able to get into the best shape, and he said it was because it was a last minute thing. They didn't give him enough notice. Tells you how late, they, went to that program.
Absolutely.
Thought of that idea. Because Goldberg did look small, and Goldberg, didn't look like Goldberg. He looked like old man Goldberg.
He did.
He was like on his way to becoming Gilberg. It was a little bit. Yeah. So, that was, but it was as good of a match as you can get. There was one little ricket, and I felt bad for Goldberg because when Goldberg charges in on something, he really charges in.
He does.
But Drew got his foot up, and I don't think that's what Goldberg was expecting, or if he maybe thought that Drew wasn't as tall as he is, because the placement of the foot and the toes the way it went in and Goldberg's reaction, we were all like, "Oh, that would have sucked," like it looked like. And at the end, he's still, as much as he was selling as well to like sell the fact that he'd lost and really put Drew over. There was a couple of elements to how he was selling, and the bits he was just kept grabbing. It was just like, yeah, he's still feeling that.
Wow. Wow.
Like,
I replayed the ending. One of the screens was blurred out. Interesting. No, that was my suggestion for WrestleMania. Thank you. Sorry. Amazing ending, says Alan Gibbons. It's okay to see the ending again, just for the face, though. That was a fun show. It was a decent show. I'd agree completely.
Yeah, absolutely. I just saw
very good.
Raymond Ewer said Wrestle Kingdom 2 was. Oh, I've just lost. Hold on, there we go. Wrestle Kingdom 2 was the best card I've ever seen, but how could you not have Sammy versus Charlie as the ender? That was Wrestle Kingdom 1, and Sammy and Charlie was the main event. Yeah. It was. I think you've heard me speak before, Raymond, about how there is a lot of people telling me that you can't end on that. You've got to end on War Games or on Kaylee and Mako. But again, my whole thing is like
championship, baby.
You got to end on the championship, and also there was like this whole thing of like, there's no guarantee that Sammy and Charlie will have a great match.
No,
because they're both so young still in their careers. And I was just like, yeah, but you can't. You'll never know if you don't give them the opportunity. And I felt they had the best match of the show, personally, and it was certainly the most emotional. The crowd, like that's at the end when Charlie goes over. And you see literally people jump to their feet. Someone throws their hat in the air. You're seeing people in the audience high-fiving and hugging.
Yeah, kids
it was real.
Yeah.
It was so real.
Yeah, if you watch, and you can see it on the Eve On Demand as opposed to on the YouTube video. Dan did share it once on the YouTube video, but the video footage from after the sort of where we saw the Queendom end is outstanding, man. With the sort of celebration of the entire company,
with the family and everyone else,
and the family and the crowd reaction is just. It's just a brilliant wrestling moment that you created. Cool. Raymond's making a prediction. I think that Queendom ending had to happen, and it made sense. It still infuriated me, said Millie.
Good.
They
were saying, like, because it has a heel end, and they were like, it'd have been nice, like it's disrespectful to Kaylee and Viper to, not just have them end. And it's just like, I actually wanted to do a different finish. And Kaylee, especially Kaylee and Kim, especially Kaylee, was just like, nah, man, it'll be so much better. Think of the heat if we do. And it's just like, yeah, because it was my idea, because Kaylee really didn't want to have a nice, happy ending. And it was Kaylee that was actually, she was the one that was begging me to come up with something like that was just going to piss people off. And that's the thing. It's like, it's quite funny when you read like some fans chat, and they'll like, I saw someone commented on a Maki Ito video of ours. Maki Ito is speaking in English.
Yeah.
And the comment is it was really disrespectful to not let Maki speak in her native language. It's just like, Maki wants to speak in English. Do you think I went up to Maki Ito and go, excuse me, could you spend the next 10 minutes learning English so you can cut this promo? Like, don't be so freaking dumb.
Probably not going to happen, no.
That assumption that, like, it's that way. And that was what it was on this podcast, this assumption that I'd forced Kaylee and Viper to do this thing they didn't want to do, when actually it was Kaylee especially that was bending my arm to doing something different and trying to come up with a way to get heat, and end and screw them over. Yeah.
No, that's hilarious. And it is funny. I mean, there must be people that like, well, I don't think anyone watches our show, but if people hear us talk, they'll be like, well, they don't have a clue.
Yeah, you see a lot of people, like, they talk with authority.
Yeah.
And it's just like I see, like, and I won't name them because I think it's disrespectful to name them, but there's a few people's reaction shows that I've watched. Like, they'll watch Raw and they'll watch SmackDown.
Yeah,
and I've seen they do their post review shows, and they talk with such authority, and I'm watching it, I'm just like, you've got no idea what you just watched, because what you're talking about makes like you're talking as if you know something that you Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, you're talking with
yeah.
authority about something that you don't know how to read in between the lines. You don't know how to read what's actually happening.
No,
But you're talking with authority as though you
like
do.
you do know. Yeah,
And so I'm watching that, and I'm just like, how have you got? And some of these people, like, you got like 1,000, 2,000 people watching them live, and I'm like, how have you got this many people watching you
Believe
talk
in
about
this.
something that you clearly don't know anything about? You know, like, it's really like,
yeah.
word.
I mean,
But
there is an element as well of being a fan and being that invested that you believe in whatever's happening as well. Like that's happened to me several times as well, where you just get so involved in a storyline that you're like, I just want to believe it, but that's great wrestling, you know.
That is, and when that's the case, you know, that's one thing. But when it's another, you know, and people are trying to say like they know something for a fact but it's just like, come on, you know, like, and I've said it before, WWE, as much as people want to make them out, you know, I can't remember who it was in the chat earlier that was very upset at us for dissing WWE.
Oh, it's Jeremy. It's all right. Jeremy's a cool dude. He's more interested in the debate of it, I think, than anything else.
I mean, you've heard me say on the stream before, is I get why, you know, and I will call, well, I don't agree that they do out, but I'll also say there's a lot of stuff, good things that they do that a lot of people don't know about, because it's not necessarily, you know, their business to know about. And one of the things that's very good they do is still allowing, you know, for a certain amount of time, people to carry on doing their independent bookings.
Yeah.
You know, after I signed, like there's, you know, Nina and Ginny were working for me for, you know, what? A year and a half after they'd already signed with WWE, longer than that actually, and they'd have carried on working. It was only the pandemic that put a stop to that.
Did Tony Storm work with you up to like Evolution or something like that as well?
Yeah, past Evolution.
Evolution, right? Yeah, I mean, that's massive.
It was past the Mae Young Classic because she won the Mae Young Classic, and past that,
yeah.
So she, you know, Tony worked for us longer. You know, it just, everyone's situation is different. And that's the thing that a lot of people need to understand. Like, contracts aren't the same from one person to the next. It's different tiers, different levels. And yeah, as there is in any job, you know, like this person here who's at this level is going to get a different contract to the person here at this level, because this person has a lot more bargaining power and possibly more places to go. Yeah. So they're able to, you know, negotiate
that. Yeah.
And but one of the things they may have to give up as part of that negotiation is, you know, because they're getting paid so much. It's like, well, if we're paying you so much, then we want that exclusivity, or if we're going to give you this opportunity and send you here and fly you over there, you know, we need that exclusivity, you know, with you, because we may need to do something like that. You know, so there's different levels of what's going on. Sorry, just, you don't know, Jack says, I think I know who you mean, Dan. My impressions of that crew are not exactly favourable. I don't think you do know who I mean, because I mean, the thing is, not disrespectful to yourself, there's just a lot of people who do those post reactions, and you know, it just does my head in when I'm seeing them talk with authority, like they know a secret and they're informing the viewers. And I'm just listening to them, and I'm just like, you haven't got a freaking Scooby.
No, but that's what we like to do here: have a debate and a question and a comment on what's happening.
Because there's difference in having an opinion and there's from selling a fact.
Absolutely. You know, and I've always said I know not a lot about wrestling. But I'll quite happily give you my opinions. You know, Millie assumed that I didn't like Edge because I was saying that he shouldn't win at Mania, but it's not. It's just, you know, it's a deeper discussion that we can absolutely have.
I'll watch out for that Millie though, mate.
Oh, Millie, man, me and Millie had our Twitter feud the other week.
Don't want to get on her bad side.
Oh, mate, I know. I was petrified. I was like writing tweets, and I was like, oh, I've got to make it sound like I'm not burying myself, and I was like, shit. And I think she realised that I did a really good job of getting out of it, but I think I did bury myself a little bit. Cool. So a question before we go to some more comments, and if you guys, we're not going to do a review, but we are going to play a nipples game in a bit. Well, hey, sorry Dan, roped me into that one again. I'm going to make a compilation, I think, of all the love poems that other guests on the channel do at some point, so that'll be fun. What was I saying? The question I wanted to ask was about working for other companies, and you can probably answer this a bit better working with Eve. If this sort of AEW expansion, if Kenny Omega's to go over to New Japan and get injured, how will that affect the companies working together's dynamics?
It would make either company that's the home company of the performer, you know, will have that gut reaction of, you know, you know, maybe we shouldn't have done that. But at the same time, an injury can happen at any particular point, and you got to look at what's the overall story that we were doing in the first place. You know, it's a bit different if you're doing like a big, long, integrated, interpromotional kind of thing. Then you're going to benefit long term off of it, and so you just have to take those injuries as they just happen, and there's never an ideal, you know, aspect of when that happens. But if you are, you know, doing it as a one-off and you just let them off to do that one, you know, one appearance, then you're probably going to be like, ugh, we shouldn't have done that. So if there is like a longer-term working relation, and it's going to be very difficult. Like, I know everyone's super excited over, you know, New Japan wrestlers going to AEW and AEW wrestlers going to New Japan. What people have got to remember is Kenta lives in Florida.
Yeah. Global, you know, pandemic.
You can't, Okada, Tanahashi's, do you know what I mean? They can't be going to AEW because of the quarantine aspect. You know, they have to quarantine for 2 weeks getting to the US, and they got to quarantine for 2 weeks to get back into Japan.
Yeah.
They, you know, they can't, you know, that's a long time. And there's flight issues. There's just a lot, you know, because that in itself is a month of inactivity for that wrestler spread out in 2 week periods. You know, that's actually quite a long time.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely,
so if you've got a storyline going on and then they disappear for 2 weeks and then they're back on week 3, you know, like that's a long time to go without. And so I understand everyone's super excited, but everyone also needs to calm their tits a bit.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to happen for a while.
Absolutely not.
But with Kenta, at the end of the day, you know, AEW have, you know, effectively used the situation to their, you know, benefits and say, well, look, this is the situation that you guys are in. John Moxley's got the New Japan IWGP United States Championship, which I hope they do a story of explaining, because we've never seen him with the title on AEW.
No.
And now in the promo picture for next week's tag match, he's holding it.
Oh, is he? Right, okay.
Yeah, so now everyone's so like, if you're Joe Blogs that doesn't know any of this stuff, where's that belt come from? You know?
Yeah.
Well, he wrestles for somewhere else, does he? You know.
I think that's a couple of people's early on in the stream. Scott made the comment, Jeremy made the comment of no one knows who Kenta is that's a casual wrestling fan, so it's not a big deal. And it's like, absolutely, I can respect that completely. But the excitement as a wrestling fan comes from knowing what this means in the future, you know, and knowing, you know, whether you know him or not, Kenta is a fantastic wrestler, you know, ultimately as well. So
it didn't help as well that GTS looked proper pony.
Yeah, man.
As well, and that was like the end of the show. So anyone that only knows him as Hideo Itami, suddenly seeing Hideo Itami lay out Dean Ambrose, you know, like they may feel a bit what. Now I get annoyed at that. Like I hate when people go about, I'm sick of these mid-carders and jobber guys from WWE appearing and suddenly being in, you know, upper mid-card main event spots. And it's just like, listen, how many of these people will be so angry about being lumbered in that spot in the first place in WWE? Vince McMahon should not dictate your rest of your career, right? Like I feel bad for Zack Ryder, because Zack Ryder is a hell of a worker.
Yeah.
You know, like, and is a hell of a, like, the guy is a charismatic guy as well.
Yeah.
But, you know, and I feel that actually I do feel that there's a spot for him, possibly a tag spot in AEW. But again, it just didn't materialize. And I wonder how much of that is down to them not wanting to get that, this is the place where former WWE guys go. Because there is that a thing.
All Cody's friends as well, because he's got both sides of that.
Yeah, and it's very, and the description is from last week, says you don't know, Jack.
Sorry.
So, you know, that's but I just don't want people to feel that, you know, WWE should dictate how you are booked other places from here on. Yes. That is down there because you're watching a different show. That's like saying I watched, especially if they're a different character, that's like saying I watched this actor who was just a supporting cast member in this show, and all of a sudden I'm supposed to take him as the lead in another show. No, I don't do that. He or she or they are forever a supporting cast member only. I do not want to see them get a lead role. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. You know, like you should be able to, if you are talented enough, but it was bad writing that held your position back, you should be able to, you know, get a better role elsewhere or be elevated. You know, like you look at, like, we spoke about Drew Gulak briefly earlier. I feel Drew Gulak is a massive missed opportunity because of his, you know, legitimate wrestling credentials. They've kind of ended up telling the story that with Timothy Thatcher that they could have been telling with Drew Gulak. You know, and so because what happens there is when you've got someone with that legitimate wrestling credentials, you have someone that can actually fight those monsters because they have a credential of legitimate fighting behind them that means that they are able to fight less talented guys, you know, but whose gimmick is mainly just that they're big because they understand joint manipulation, because they understand different forms of takedown and using their size and using their opponent's size against them. You know,
makes
that's
that
a
matchup believable.
And it also means that you can have a very small guy who's a killer, which is exactly what Taz was in ECW. He was 5'7" or whatever, but the original, you know, so-and-so's going to kill you come from Taz. Taz was the first, you know, that ECW once created that chant for Taz, and then it became, some, you know, Joe is going to kill you.
Synonymous with,
you know, comes from Taz, this 5'7" guy. You know, because he's got that legitimacy with a judoka background,
and
because the presentation of him was, this legitimate black belt badass who's like, but he's not just a black belt judoka. He's also a thug. He's also a street fighter. So you've got all of that combined into this character that meant that even when he was taking on Bam Bam Bigelow, who's much bigger than he is, you were just like, man, Bam Bam needs to watch out.
It's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting how you can. When you invest in someone and you make that story believable, anyone can be the next superstar. And actually, there's so many wonderful wrestlers in the world right now that are being left at the wayside. And this isn't just on WWE; this is on every company. You know, Matt Cardona's an interesting one because I was really shocked he didn't do better. Like, I would have picked him up in it if I was AEW in a flash, and the reason isn't for his in-ring talent, although I think he's good, or anything like that, or promo, or anything like that. It's his social media. I mean, that's what got him over in the first place. I've just seen a couple of people say anti-Morono Raid in the chat. Oh, hello, Anti-Morono. How are you doing? Thank you so much for that. We do appreciate that, mate. We're just chatting some wrestling. This is Eve Pro Wrestling's producers, Dann Read. Got a wonderful wrestling YouTube. You can check that out in the description. That has free wrestling to watch on YouTube with some of your favourite superstars, from Tony Storm to Ginny. Well, they might be your favourite, they might not be. To Hikari Shida. All of these are all featured in Eve. So check them out, my dudes. Wonderful channel. And subscribe to us, you know, if you want. If you want. I like that. It's a nice little thing. And just to reiterate again to everyone watching, remember tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. UK, we are doing a special AEW stream of all of the a number of the women who have appeared in Eve and are taking part in the AEW Women's Eliminator Tournament. So if you've never seen these women before, or maybe you've heard of them but you haven't seen much, come along and join us for that stream tomorrow night, because we're going to be talking about them as well as showing you matches that they've had in their Eve career, as well as I mentioned earlier, I've spoken to several promotions in Japan and been approved to use matches of several of the other competitors as part of the stream tomorrow night. So you'll get to see a nice amount of wrestling. I'm actually alarmed at how long that might go on for now that I talk about it. But that is a lot the stream will not stay up. It is deleted at the end, as is all our live streams. The live streams are all deleted. So the only way you can watch is by watching it live on the stream. And I've just put the link in there so you can hit that set reminder if you haven't already done so. Where were we? We were just talking about... the link don't come through because you... Oh, yeah, it doesn't come through, does it? Because I'm... You was a mod as well. Anyway, so, yeah, sorry, carry on. Keep talking while I... You're going to mod me? I'm not a mod, actually. No, I don't know why. You was before. No, that was on the Wrestle Stories.
thing where I was made mod.
Oh, you're not a mod on ours. Screw
No.
you. No, you haven't done enough work yet.
I haven't done enough work yet.
Not yet. You haven't done a Raw stream. When you do a Raw stream?
I am never doing a Raw stream. I am not sitting through 3 hours of that. It's just that simple. One thing that we saw throughout, by the way, on tonight's Smackdown was they kept talking about how it was 33 years ago that fans on NBC watched the Hogan v Andre match, which was a rematch from the WrestleMania 3. And that drew 33 million viewers.
It's mad, isn't it?
That is crazy. And we looked at those ratings of post Raw earlier. The Raw after Mania from 5 years ago, drawing over 5 million viewers, and the Raw after Mania last year drawing 1.9.
Man,
like that is just ridiculous. Like it's insane, and that's why I'm like, the rating for the Raw after Rumble this year was not good. It'll be interesting to see what the rating for the Raw after Mania will be. We're on an interesting time of being a wrestling fan right now.
Certainly is, especially with everything that's happening in the world. Guys, if you have any more questions, this is your last call. I'm going to get through some comments, and then we are going to party. If it's Drew, Edge will win. If it's Roman, Roman will win. And if it's Finn, that's anybody's guess, says Jake. Yes, yeah, cool. I feel like Drew should beat Edge as well, though, but I don't know.
Yes, I would agree as well.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
Got to be touch as an indie promoter. Got to be in touch, I'd assume, as an indie promoter. You're trying to get talent at a reasonable price, and they say I can get twice that from Vince.
No, not really, because I think what they mean is tough. As an indie promoter, because no, not really. It's not particularly tough because I remember when Emma from WWE reached out, and I was just like, "Look, this is the situation. Like this is where we are." And they were like, "But Emma really wanted to work still, so it was just like, okay, maybe we can work out where we can get a tour on, so she works for this place, this place, this place, this place, and then she looks after us, and it's just a case of." Like similar, like it's really dependent, really, on what's going on, without trying to be too revealing of people's personal details. But like it is, so and most of the time it's just like if you want to do it, because with WWE, if you sign there, like you're basically giving up a load of your own creativity because you're following a script, and you're also giving up your ability to do 15 to 20 minute matches, so you can do 4 matches once every 6 weeks during taping.
Yep.
And no one really likes that.
No.
But they understand from a career perspective it's that. So there's a difference of when you're working the indies, certain indies, not every indie. The talent wants to be there and they enjoy being there. And that's not to say they necessarily don't want to be elsewhere or don't enjoy, but it's more fun. And so you're not really doing. No one's ever said to me, I can get this to go to Vince. So, but at the same time, if we had the ability with a television deal that had a huge amount of income, would I have put in a bid to stop talent from feeling like they have to sign, especially in a pandemic era where there's no shows? Absolutely, I would. There isn't, like. Single person in Eve that has gone on to NXT UK, which again I'm grateful because I'm still allowed to use them. That's why it's one of those things where my relationship with WWE is complicated, and but has been as much as I've had some run-ins with them, has also been beneficial to me as well. With AEW, I haven't had a single run-in with them. It's just been plain sailing, very easy. It's but I've said this before. It's just like, WWE aren't always the big be-all bad guys. But there are people in WWE that if I was in a position to try, to make a play for them and pay them X amount a year, guaranteed, then I would. And I also know from speaking to those people that if I could do that, they would sign with me and not with them.
Yeah.
Because why? Because their whole thing is, it's a lot easier and it's still got that freedom and that fun aspect.
Yeah. Especially in a non-pandemic world as well. You're not having to. I mean, the WWE guys, the house show loop is ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean,
It's a strain.
The thing is, though, a lot of people actually enjoy working the house show matches. They certainly used to because there was more freedom on the house shows.
And they can actually get to work, as opposed to
Yeah, exactly. Whereas on the TV, you don't really have that.
Yeah.
So I know a number of people that really enjoyed working the house shows.
Right.
Because there was that more, space to, be a wrestler.
Have fun. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
Just Annie Moroney says Toni Storm is great. She is. You should see her unfiltered. I don't mean visually. I mean, wrestling wise.
Yeah, if you watch Eve Pro Wrestling, like Toni Storm, we was watching Toni Storm previously. Outstanding, man. Outstanding. Yeah. Like I've always liked Toni Storm, and I've only been when she was in she's still in WWE. When she first got into WWE, I saw her and I was like, she's great. Saw her with that match with Shayna Baszler. I was like, that's the best Shayna Baszler match I've ever seen. So I got into her a little bit more. But watching the stuff like pre WWE, like mind-blowingly good.
Yeah, exactly. And that's again because you're dealing with. This is what I dislike about some of the mainstream, and particularly like WWE. It's very, they're casting a wrestler. Okay, we have this wrestler. Okay, we can give them that character. Okay, here's your script, and I dislike that. Mm-hmm. It's a bit different in NXT UK, but it's certainly like that on the roster. And then you end up with on the main roster, and it's certainly a problem when you end up with good talent being reduced to 24/7 situation because the writers have got nothing for them, or because someone near the top of the pile doesn't see them. Yeah, exactly. It's weird. And that's a problem. Yeah. But so you're basically committing yourself. You're an actor that's committing yourself to a film role or a TV series in this case.
Where you're an extra.
Where you're effectively an extra, and there's not, and you don't have the ability to audition for any other, roles on any other, series or shows. You are set in on that exclusive, and that sucks. And I find it very disrespectful to the talent as well. This idea that the talent don't know how to get themselves over. I find that
grab the brass ring
ideas, and don't have ideas for it that'll translate to the audience. I really find it disrespectful. These are creative individuals who have gone into a creative industry. Work with them, not just demand they jump whenever you say jump.
But we all know the companies that do that, and we all know the companies that don't. So and we tend to get more engaging matches, shall we say? Whether you prefer sports entertainment or wrestling or whatever it is you prefer, we tend to get more engaging matches. That's for sure. Because when people are enjoying themselves, people are having a better time in general. I'm ready for funny trivia. We will do a nipples game in a bit. Jakey baby, fair enough. I make a point that as smart as I am one on some things, there are people smarter than me on other things. You are certainly smarter than me on wrestling. That sounded more complimentary to you in my head. There we go. I think Jack said he loves you.
Oh, thank you, Jack. Appreciate it. Love you back.
I'm in the Ginger Club. Well done. It's fake crazy Ginger. Mate, you want to continue our beef? You don't even notice I'm not in chat until I show up. Hello, Millie. I don't want to continue our beef. I'm freaking afraid of you, mate. I'm afraid of you. You're a thug with your Charlie Morgan tattoo. And the description is from last week. Yeah, thanks, mate. I hit the like button. Thank you. Anti Morano Raid. Toni Storm is great. Whoever your favourite woman wrestler is, there's a good chance she's a PvP in Eve. Absolutely, Raymond.
Yeah, most likely.
I got it for Raw. Actually, watching Raw is something I'm sure I'll have to tell a therapist. Yeah, dude, I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry. Jack watches Raw with Dom. Woo.
Oh, poor bastard.
Dan, how do you get involved in the business? Thank you, Alan. Great question.
The old-fashioned way. I went to a training school and started, training as training to wrestle, basically. And then just progressed from there. It literally was, just that, really.
And then what got you into promoting instead of wrestling?
One of the things was I got hurt training, and I suffered temporary paralysis as a result of it. And there wasn't really anything kind of going on. It was kind of something I just kind of had to deal with myself. because that was what wrestling training schools were like at the time. And it actually slightly realigned my spine as well, so my spine got messed up as a result of that.
Jesus.
But what had happened in interim time where I wasn't able to do anything, and it happened very shortly after I started as well, was I started. I was a guest on someone's radio show, and they asked if I could be a regular. And then it just like they were like, "Look, we're looking for some ways to put on some events. You know, have you got any ideas?" And it was just like, "Okay, well, what about this?" And so I just that's how I then started promoting, because I was already in the business. I already knew people. I was very fortunate that my first weekend in the business, I ended up paired with a guy called Chris Champion, who were, if you've ever read Steve Austin's book or Dutch Mantel's book, you know, he was one of the people that trained Steve Austin. And his career would have been much bigger if he didn't have the drug habit that he did, because he was well ahead of his time. When it comes to what Chris Champion could do, you will never read a bad thing about. It was sadly a very Marty Jannetty situation,
right?
That ruined his career, and sadly he's no longer with us. And Chris took a shine to me. He said that, you know, you get it, you understand the psychology of it. And so I learned a lot from him, and just kind of, went on from there. I was always very interested in the storytelling aspect and making, people go on an emotional roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the psychology was. It wasn't so much about the moves. The moves are a physical catchphrase. And that's what it is. The most important thing you do in a match is the bits in between the moves.
Absolutely.
And so it just kind of went from there. It was just like all of a sudden that radio station's wanting events. I know people in the wrestling business. I'm like, okay, well, why don't we put on a wrestling show for attention? Mm-hmm. I brought over Loki, who went on to be Caval, and I think at the time he was like the indie darling, and Eddie Guerrero was really pushing him around as well. And Eddie was like, this guy's the hottest guy on the indie scene. Everyone should be working with him. Like Doug Williams, Jody Fleisch, and just a who's who, and it just spiraled from there. Basically, other promotions then started bringing me in. I got to work for TNA, as it was at the time, Ring of Honor, and it just kind of went from there. Nice. It's one of those things where the wrestling business is a huge business, but it's also very small. So, like Raymond said earlier, whoever your favorite woman wrestler is, the chances are they've worked for Eve.
Absolutely.
It's like, yeah, because, whether it be, your favorite wrestler is someone that's doing very well now, such as Britt Baker, or someone who's a legend, such as Jazz or Manami Toyota, or a star of the future like your Maki Itos and your Mei Sarugas. Mm-hmm. I've worked with them all, because as big as the wrestling business is, it's also very small. Mm-hmm. It's very easy to, like, if you don't know someone, you will know someone that does.
Yeah.
So if you want to be put in contact with them, you just, you will know someone that has their cell or their, their WhatsApp or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's how I ended up with like Kota Ibushi working for me, and all, going to dinner randomly with Minoru Suzuki. And do you know what I mean? Just like it's because everyone kind of knows everyone. So then when they're in the area, you just end up meeting up and going from there. It's not the most exciting story because it's just a very basic,
I think story. It is. I think it is for people that don't know that sort of structure. So absolutely, I think it's great. Dan,
I do think it's best to get in the business by going to a training school first.
There you go.
I know a lot of people prefer the idea of like going into the business and just do it from a creative aspect first. But the problem is you kind of need to know from within before you can kind of, advise too far. Like there's a lot of things that you need to know. So I always think it's best, and that even goes for refereeing as well. Mm-hmm. It's best to be able to learn to work and train on that aspect inside the ring, and then learn to referee, rather than is to try and take up refereeing and have no knowledge of how to actually work. Just my opinion on that.
Most directors are people who have worked in acting, and there's a reason for that. It's about understanding what performance is, and exactly the same for wrestlers.
Absolutely.
Or anything within the industry. There was an interesting thing about Vince McMahon changing the rings after he got in the ring because he realised how hard they were.
I didn't know that was the reason for it, but yeah, they did change the rings. They invested in high density foam padding.
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And prior to that, it wasn't, and obviously there was all taking bumps on it, so the Mankind bumps were heavy. But it wasn't until Vince got into the ring and realized what it was like, and then that all changed. So there you go. A little bit. I think it was Arn Anderson might have talked about that or something like that. Anyway, Dan, you're a proper breath of fresh. You certainly know your shit. You certainly does. He's going to shoot. Thank you for joining us, Auntie Morani. Appreciate it. Smackdown is something to watch on Friday night. It certainly is. Ginny's here. Right. For those of you that have never joined us before, we are ending this stream on a nipples game. We're ending this stream on a nipples game. I'm going to show a pair of nipples, and then you're going to get a love poem from either me or Dan, your choice, on whose nipples these are. There's the nipples. We'll just do one tonight, so it'll be choice. So they could choose me, Dan. But as the special guest, who doesn't frequently appear on the show, and you know how this works anyway. Full name only. Whose nipples are those? This person is relevant. Dan, how did you feel in the presence of greatness being in here with the reigning, defending, undisputed Royal Rumble prediction champion of the world, Jeremy? Jeremy got his predictions for the Royal Rumble perfect.
What, every match?
Every match.
Then I feel sorry for Jeremy for, sadly not being, being able to predict everything. So I'm sorry that you didn't get to,
enjoy the moment.
I'm sorry that it's so predictable for you. But well done on winning. There is always nice kudos.
Absolutely. I give him massive kudos.
You should bet, my friend. Like if that's a reoccurring thing for you, you should absolutely bet, because William Hill and I think Paddy Power and various others online gambling places, you can bet on the WWE pay-per-view events. So
everyone can stop. Someone's got it. But sorry, go on, Dan.
I'm guessing it was Lars Sullivan.
Yes, congratulations. It was Lars Sullivan, and the first person to get it was Jake. Congratulations. Obviously being released from WWE earlier this week, Dan.
I think that's the reason why it was so easy to get.
Yeah, was it?
Because
right?
we've seen the photos so much this week.
Oh, have we? I've not even looked. It's probably just one that... Dude, honestly, do I tell this story? Yes, I tell this story. It's bad, though. In preparation for these games, I quite often go onto Google and I have to type in... X person or X person's nipples or X person topless. Please do not type into Google Lars Sullivan topless.
Oh yeah, of course. You're going to get different things come up, aren't you? Unless that's your thing. Although saying I think he regrets doing it, so don't do it. Don't type in Lars Sullivan topless. Actually,
I mean I have no issue with seeing it, but actually at the same time I was not expecting it whatsoever.
No,
the monster.
It's a good job. It's a good job you've got no one else in the house at the moment, isn't it? Like,
yeah, that's
it'll be more than Santa Claus that will have been ruined if that was seen.
So fake crazy Jake, who do you want, mate? Do you want me or Dan? It's going to be Dan anyway. We all know that. So
it might not be. He might not be an arsehole.
Oh, it could be both. We could just do both. How about that? Dan Read says Jeremy Stanley. He thought them nipples were yours.
That chest is way too high for it to be mine.
I didn't notice him without kissing another man in the video. Absolutely. I said Lars first. Yes, you did. Yes, you did, Jake. LMAO, says Alan Gibbons. Yeah, welcome to the podcast. Danny's still with us. Danny, thank you so much for staying with us all night. I know it's...
Well, while we're waiting on the choice to be made... Oh, the bastard.
The choice has been made.
Right. What do I do? Fine.
Who knows,
I shall tell a very short poem.
Oh, a very short poem. Here we go.
It's a very short poem. And it's a word of advice, really, because it's a difficult world that we live in, and the outside world is very scary. And I feel after this lockdown ends, and we're suddenly told you guys can go outside again, some people are going to be almost, too excited about going out.
Too excited?
I think they might just be too excited now that the lockdown ends and they can go wherever they want. And I know we have a number of people in the US watching this show. So there are some places that if you go, you should be alarmed. You should be concerned. You should be careful. So if you ever take a trip down to Cobb County, Georgia, you better read the signs and respect the law and order. Or you'll be serving hard time.
Hard time.
Yeah, you'll be serving hard time.
Hard time.
Then Big Boss Man will make you walk the line. You better watch yourself, or you'll be serving hard time.
Hard time.
I think it's actually you better watch it, boy, or you'll be serving hard time.
Mate, it was
But
perfect.
there you go.
That was an original poem for you, Jakey baby.
That was an original.
That's what we do. That's what we do here. Dan, that was perfect. Thank you so much for joining us, man. Everyone, I think you all still enjoy these streams. Please let Eve know that you support them by subscribing to them and checking out all the links in the description down below.
Before we go, I actually just want to say something. Like, today was the passing of Butch Reed, and I mentioned it briefly on the Eve stream earlier. And Butch Reed is a very interesting wrestler because he's a prime example of wrestlers that were hugely influential and had major success, but never got like the due credit that they deserved for one reason or another. And a number of times, Butch Reed is one of those people that kind of came around and had his big level of success prior to the WWE's big worldwide, spread, basically, before they took over the world. And I understand that their WWE have put together a playlist over on the WWE Network, but I haven't seen what's on it yet. But Butch Reed, actually, what a lot of people might not know is like he was a huge influence on a number of wrestlers. Mm-hmm. He had an incredible pedigree coming into the wrestling business. He was a former NFL player, played for Kansas City. I can't remember what that the name is, but he was a former football player, playing for Kansas City, very high level. And then he got into pro wrestling. And the guy was a freak athlete. Like, he was someone that was both a power lifter and a sprinter. You know, like extremely gifted athlete, ahead of his time in many ways. Is perhaps best known in like the early 80s for having Junkyard Dog's best matches. He famed what was called the ghetto street fight. And he was very good at working with people and working around their limitations. But he worked a very hard style. And that's the reason why he had quite a short career, is combining like his football career with the style of matches that he had, which these aren't, like the ghetto street fights, these aren't your technical matches or anything like that. These were fights. Mm-hmm. Like, because this was an era when they were like, no, if we're having a street fight, then we need to go at it. And a number of these matches, if they're not on the network, then they'll certainly be on YouTube somewhere. Yeah. But you'll find a number of, matches from that era. You'll find his feud with Hacksaw Jim Duggan from that era. Some incredible promos, well worth going out of your way to watch. It starts off with them feuding over the Hacksaw name. Jim Duggan was Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Butch Reed was Hacksaw Butch Reed. It comes from that football background, but both of those names. Mm-hmm. And before they end up inevitably teaming with one another, before there's another break off in a feud. And then he ends up being put with Ron Simmons. And Ron Simmons was basically put with Butch Reed, because Butch Reed at this point, his knee was pretty banged up. And so, like, tag matches was the best kind of thing for him. But the guy could still go. The guy's psychology and everything was still there, even if he was a bit more banged up, than he was years ago, because he was such a hard worker, because he was just a tough, like I say, he brought the realism in those fights, in those early 80s matches. Mm-hmm. So Ron Simmons was put with them so that Ron Simmons could learn the business. Ron Simmons, again, former, high-level American football player, a natural athlete, a freak athlete, hard worker, great attitude. Everyone loved him. Legitimately tough guy as well. Like, he was a guy that, like, the Steiners didn't mess with, the Road Warriors didn't mess with, nobody messed with him. Ron Simmons quite famously in an interview said, "I'm unfuckwithable." He was asked, "What if they try to fuck with you?" And he was like, "I'm unfuckwithable." Right. And he was. But he was put with Butch Reed because he was kind of seen as like the 90s Butch Reed, Mm-hmm. And so Butch Reed could teach him, and they became a tag team known as Doom. And they had some wonderful heel tag matches, which are on the WWE Network, with Arn Anderson and Ric Flair and various other assortments of the Four Horsemen. They had a very good feud and some good singles matches as well. In fact, Butch Reed had a number of singles matches with Ric Flair, which is superb.
Right.
Because Butch Reed was a legitimate headliner, a legitimate sellout star.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that the injury came along at the same time as some personal problems, which meant that when he went to the WWF at that point was like this cartoon character promotion as it was in the 80s. They weren't going to get behind that Butch Reed character that existed in the NWA because, they're not going to have a cartoon world where you got a guy saying, I'm going to take you on in a ghetto street fight and kill you.
Yeah.
That just ain't going to happen in that era.
It's the same with a lot of JYD, completely different wrestler in or the sheep herders turned into the bushwhackers.
Yeah, absolutely. The bush and the sheep herders, again, you go back and you see some of the barbed wire matches that people think didn't exist back in the day, and yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And it's well worth going away watching those. And again, like Butch Reed at one point was actually considered to be the guy that took the Intercontinental title from Ricky Steamboat. There's two varying stories. There's one story where they say he no-showed a WWE taping, so the title went to Honky. And there's another story where that's not true. I believe that it's not true. Right. I do believe that he was in the consideration for it, though. And so that should tell you, though, like how highly that they did rate Butch Reed. It's just that, he had some issues going on. So his WWE short career, he's probably best known for losing to Randy Savage at the WrestleMania 4 title tournament that Randy Savage won. In his WWF run. But then he went back to WCW, formed that tag team with Ron Simmons, taught Ron Simmons. We were blessed with the career of Ron Simmons as a result of everything that he was learning with Butch Reed. We got some incredible matches with Doom and the Horsemen. And it's just, there's a lot of wrestlers like that. So I think the reason why that Butch Reed's death kind of hit me a bit is because there are so many wrestlers who had tremendous careers, but don't get the plaudits or, the respect that their careers deserve. Because the timing meant that they weren't in like the WWF at the peak of WWF's
in style at the time, in style for that company. Yeah,
exactly, and around. And Butch Reed is one of those guys. And like I said, there's a lot of guys, and I especially think this month being what it is as well, it's a good time for people to like go back and and take a look at the career of someone like Butch Reed, and know that there are many other wrestlers like him, and kind of enjoy a lot of that, the wrestling that you saw from that happened back in those days, and respect it as well on like the tenacity and just like the aggression and everything that they put in, like how much they beat. Because you mentioned about how hard the WWE rings were back then, like the rings in those days, especially on the territories. They were stiff, man.
Wood, yeah, just wood.
Yeah, and then you got the, Butch putting on the, going at it, a very hard hitting style, very believable, legitimately believable style, So it's, he really, and that's why he sadly had a short career. But the things that he achieved on top in that short career is just incredible. So if you're looking for some classic wrestling to watch, then go back and discover some Butch Reed from the early 80s, and you'll see him against wrestlers that you know. So if you're like, I don't really know who he's against, like he feuded with Flair, he feuded with the Steiners, he feuded with pretty much everyone, like of that era. And he had tremendous matches throughout until really like 1991. So go back and give those a check.
Any of that would be interesting to watch. Dude, that's awesome. Another Smackdown. You just said like this one wasn't planned. It was just Dan says, "Hey, I fancy coming on," and I went, "Absolutely! You've got an open invite, and it's been another wonderful show with you. So thank you so much, and thank you for all of your freaking awesome insight, my love."
No, it's appreciated. It was just, and Ant's not wrong. I literally messaged him about 7, 8 o'clock tonight.
Yeah.
And it was after. It was Butch Reed's passing. It was Butch Reed's passing.
Right.
Saw that, and I was just like, it's been a busy couple of days news wise, and Butch Reed's passing. There's just something about wrestlers who were very influential, but people, and I think it's because of my connection to Chris Champion. I mentioned earlier, like you've probably never heard of the name Chris Champion before. Nope. But he has incredible influence over the wrestling business. I spoke about him being one of the people that helped train Steve Austin, along with Dutch Mantell, and helped train specifically around the psychology, which a lot of people don't realize, and a lot of people don't know that about. But he was also ahead of his time as part of a tag team on the independent scene called the New Breed. And again, if it wasn't for his, sadly, the drug addiction that he had, you know, he'd be someone else that is kind of, it'd be, and more people would know him. And there's a lot of, you know, great wrestlers where that's a sad tale, or the timing just didn't work out where they were in the big place at the right time, but they always, you know, gave it their all. And you know, that one just kind of like, it was like, there's,
it hit you.
Yeah, and you see a lot of people, and I think, you know, I said about it earlier, I don't like it when people start saying things like, you know, why are we to, you know, accept this job? Like, this guy, you know, shouldn't be in a position like this in this promotion, you know, and have this idea that, you know, whatever Vince or whomever decrees in WB, that is your role for life. I think I don't like that, and I think that, imagine all of the great wrestlers that we'd have missed out on if that was constantly kept. And also just, you know, realize then that those wrestlers are having to work hard to fight that, because that's going on anyway. You know, I mean, otherwise AJ Styles would just be a guy jobbing on, you know, Shotgun Saturday Night or whatever the hell the show was, like when he first started, you know, if we never allow people to grow and go up.
The Ringmaster, Rocky Maivia. Yeah, exactly.
You know, like we can't just see these people as
one thing, you know, suits all. There's an evolution. There's an evolution.
Yeah, exactly. You know. And we also should. I also think it's cool to go back and learn a lot about some of the other wrestlers that were around. And Brad Armstrong's another one. You'll never hear anybody say a bad word about Brad Armstrong when it comes to in the ring. Go back and watch a load of his matches, because he's so smooth in the ring, and that is a thing you'll constantly hear people say. He is fantastic. Never got the rub or the run that he really deserved. But there's just so many great wrestlers, both out there now and wrestlers of the past, that really, you know, if you've got that free time, or you've got that network, or you've got YouTube, you know, go back and, you know, give those guys a watch. And you'll also see a lot of stuff that specifically AEW is kind of like repackaging these days as well.
There we go.
But you'll buy into it as well. It's superb.
Yeah, but Jim Cornette won't agree with you at all.
No, on Butch Reed, he absolutely would.
I know he'd agree with you on Butch Reed, but he wouldn't agree with you about AEW taking stuff from the past and using it now.
No, he probably wouldn't.
Guys, Dan, it's been awesome, and I really look forward to the show. And thank you for sort of for joining us and educating both me and our audience about both wrestling past and wrestling history, as well as giving your opinions. I seriously appreciate it. Thank you, man.
No, thanks for having us on and doing this. It's quite good for me to do as well for me. Good. So thanks for that.
No worries, man. Well, that is it, guys. We are going to wrap up there. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. If you could leave a like, share the video. Obviously, we watched Smackdown during this, and it was a really good show. But you know, when Dan comes on, we just talk. I tried to watch as much as I could. I just had issues with my stream, and even though I was on the BT Sport one, it just weren't happening. Miles behind tonight.
Yeah, apologies.
It's all good. So thank you, Dan. And
sorry, Jake, for the long speech.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good.
I could tell you lots of other stories if you want.
You can tell us lots of other stories. Oh, before we go, we've got a stream. My friends over at the Wrestle Story. Maven's been doing half the stream by herself.
Cool. Well done, Maven.
Yeah, absolutely. And now her father's just joined her. That is the link in there. We are going to go and raid them. I'll replace the pin there. So it is the pinned comment. It's just in the comments now. So go and say hello to Minnie M and her father. Say hello to them. Dudes, thanks, Dan. Take it easy. We're going to count down from 5, and then we're all going to say, oh, yeah, because we've got crap gimmicks. Right, 5, 4, 3, 2, like a Claymore. 1. Oh, yeah. It's a good job we don't do that bloody Claymore with the without fans. Can you imagine Kevin Dunn?
Has he stopped doing that?
He must have. I
didn't realise.
Well, yeah, because how's Kevin Dunn going to count down? With?
Oh, well, easily. He'll just pipe it in, wouldn't he?
And then Drew will be like...
Didn't they pipe in "This is awesome" and all that?
They're typing loads of crap, man.
Didn't they pipe in a "Holy shit" chant?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, with the Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens Spotfest.
Yeah. Are we doing a bonus bit, or are we just going straight over?
I'm still live right now. See you in a bit.
Oh, are you?
This is Big E from the New Day. Give me that whole yeah. Give it to me. I need it.
How the hell do I start that conversation, though?
I don't know. Are we live now?
We are live now, of course. Dan says to me, "Are we doing the secret stream again?" I went, "Yeah, sure." He says, "What are we talking about?" I went, "Soup." I went, "How do we get into that?" What's your favourite type of soup, Dan? That's real shit.
There's terrible discussion, but sure. There's a brand called Amy's Kitchen. It's an American brand, and she turned up. I used to run a shop years ago, and she turned up. The owner of this multi-million-dollar brand just walked into my shop one day in the village that I live in the middle of absolute pesky nowhere, and she's like, "Hey, you sell my soup?" And I'm just like, "Fuck, a nutter, what's going on?" It's like. And then she grabs, because we were selling on, and she shows me the tin. She goes, "I'm Amy," and she's pointing because it's just called Amy's Soups. Right. And I'm just like, "Sure you are." It's just like, and then she starts like, and then she shows me there's a picture of her and her family on the back of the tin, and I'm looking at her, and I'm like, "Fuck, it is." Like, and I'm just like, "What the hell? What? Why
was it a picture of Amy, or was it like an illustration of Amy?
No, it was a picture. It was a picture of her and her family. Her family created the soup when she was a little girl. And the business had blown up. So now on the back of the suit, there was a picture of Amy and the family. So she's literally like pointing down at, "No, that's me." And then she starts getting her ID out and starts bringing it. Turns out she's got a load of details on the company and she's wanting to talk to me about it. And Brilliant. I'm just like, I mean, I'm already selling your stuff, but sure, this is just fucking weird. But yeah, I was, a little bit just like, "You sell my soup." Just, okay, sure I do.
Security.
I will say, security. Yeah, right. Like, well, the thing is, it was my store, so the only people that worked there was me and my wife.
You were security.
So I was security.
Actually, if your wife was working, your wife was definitely security.
Yeah, my wife was definitely the more frightening one of the pair of us. But there's a true story. Is that Amy's? I think they're called Amy's Kitchen Soups. I do have them in the cupboard still. I still have them these days. They are the best soups.
There you go.
There you go.
No one expected that story to come from soup, did you? But with Dan Read. That's what happens. Take it easy, everyone.
Somehow I have an experience involving.
Take it easy, everyone. See you later.
See you later, guys.
See you at Wrestle Story.
Hello, this is Shotzi Blackheart, and welcome to Gimme a Whole Yeah! I hope everyone checking this out in Yorkshire and beyond is having a great day.